Chapter 2198. Blue Cloud and the others closed in on Lu Ming with undisguised murderous intent. "Blue Cloud, what do you want?" Lu Hao stepped forward and shouted, "What do we want? Cripple this kid." Blue Cloud said coldly. Around them, other people cast curious gazes at them. Lu Hao's expression changed, and he said, "Lan Yin, the Two-World City has a rule. Once we enter the battlefield, the people of the Heaven Realm must be united. We are not allowed to kill each other. Those who break the rule will be punished by military law." "Haha, violate the rule? Let me tell you, this kid has violated the rule. He attacked and killed an expert of my Lan family, so I'm going to cripple him and bring him back to Two-World City to accept the punishment." Blue Cloud laughed. Two-World City was a huge city located at the entrance of Hunyuan Heaven Domain and Taiching Heaven Domain. It was incomparably majestic and had countless experts guarding it. It was because of Two-World City that the invasion of the foreign races was stopped. What? Hearing this, Lu Hao was stunned. If it was really like what Lan Yin said, he had no reason to interfere. "Ridiculous," Lu Ming said indifferently. He glanced at Blue Cloud and said, "You and Lan Songshi are afraid of death, but you want to get the treasure. You used me as a test stone when you encountered a broken weapon left behind from ancient times. You didn't dare to go, but you asked me to. I helped you get a broken weapon and wanted to leave, but you didn't let me go and wanted to kill me. If I didn't do anything, would I wait to be killed by you?" Many people's eyes flickered. So that's what happened. If they were Lu Ming, they would have done the same. "Blue Cloud, if that's the case, don't blame Brother Lu for taking action." Lu Hao said again, "Nonsense. The three of us are searching for treasures together. Naturally, one of us has to go and test it. If all three of us go together, won't we be wiped out in danger?" Blue Cloud argued, "Then why am I the one going and not you?" Lu Ming sneered, "That time it was you. The second time, it will definitely be us. We will take turns. However, you were blinded by greed and suddenly launched a sneak attack. You wanted to kill us and take the treasure for yourself. You deserve to die." Blue Cloud shouted, a cunning look in his eyes. Lu Ming sneered. This Blue Cloud was really shameless. "What do you mean by taking turns? It's all bullshit." They clearly wanted to use Lu Ming as a stepping stone. If Lu Ming wanted to leave, they would kill Lu Ming and threaten him. So that's how it is. Everything is clear now. This brat was greedy and wanted to kill others to steal their treasures. Killing his own people on the battlefield is a serious violation of the rules. He must be punished. It was a young man named Yan Shi. He was also a genius. Lu Hao didn't know if Blue Cloud was telling the truth and didn't know what to say. "Lu Ming, kneel down and destroy your own cultivation. Do you still need me to do it?" Blue Cloud shouted, "Come at me if you're capable." Lu Ming said coldly, and a big bow appeared in his hand. "You're really audacious. Do you still want to resist? Do it." Blue Cloud shouted. Swoosh, swoosh. Behind Blue Cloud, shadows flickered. More than 10 people surrounded Lu Ming. Powerful auras pressed against Lu Ming. 2 7-star empty emperors and 2 6-star empty emperors. Lu Ming looked around and revealed a cold, murderous intent in his eyes. The people brought by Blue Cloud were very strong. Lu Ming was definitely no match for them with his own strength. However, Lu Ming had a big bow in his hand and wasn't afraid of them. If these people were courting death, he didn't mind killing them. The one that made him feel pressured was Yan Shi. He had a true emperor expert with him. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, even with the big bow in his hand, he wouldn't be able to unleash such power. He wasn't a match for a true emperor. However, if he was forced into a corner, Lu Ming could use his heavenly emperor physique to kill his opponent. However, Lu Ming wouldn't use it unless it was a last resort. The others looked on coldly, and no one said a word. "Blue Cloud, aren't you going overboard? If there's anything, wait until we return to Two-World City." Lu Hao said anxiously. Lu Ming had saved his life. He couldn't just watch Lu Ming be destroyed. Lu Hao, get lost. If you don't, I'll take you down as well. Blue Cloud scolded coldly. Lu Hao's face turned ugly. He was the one who invited Lu Ming here, but this happened. He felt terrible. Brother Lu, this has nothing to do with you. They'll have to pay a heavy price if they want to deal with me. Lu Ming said coldly. He poured his saint energy into the big bow, causing it to vibrate slightly and emit a layer of light. That's an ancient imperial weapon. Blue Cloud's eyes fell on the big bow with greed. The big bow was ancient with mottled rust on it. There was a high chance that it was obtained in this ancient battlefield. A weapon left behind in this ancient battlefield with spirituality was definitely extraordinary. Lan Yin was just about to order them to attack when a disdainful sneer resounded from the sky. How despicable and shameless! You forced others to be a test stone and were killed in the end. Now you're slandering others. The Lan family is really getting worse and worse. The voice was full of disdain, causing Blue Cloud and the others to turn pale. Everyone looked up at the sky. They saw a 14 to 15-year-old young man in a Taiji Yin-Yang Taoist robe. He had his hands behind his back as he walked over. It was a young Taoist. Who are you? How dare you insult the Lan clan? Do you understand that you're courting death? Blue Cloud said coldly, Don't use the Lan clan to pressure me. Others may be afraid of the Lan clan, but I'm not. The young Taoist was disdainful. He said with a strong sense of ridicule, Am I wrong? You're obviously forcing others to be your test stone. Naturally, they have to resist. How dare you frame others here? Anyone with a discerning eye can see that you're lying through your teeth. If the Lan clan were all people like you, they would have been annihilated long ago. The young Taoist had his hands behind his back, looking like a peerless expert. He looked at Blue Cloud from the corner of his eyes like a senior reprimanding a junior. You've insulted the Lan clan time and time again. You're courting death. In my opinion, this person is Lu Ming's accomplice. Attack and cripple him first. Blue Cloud roared. Swoosh! A middle-aged, burly man from the Lan clan rushed out. He had the cultivation of a 5-star Void Emperor. With his cultivation of a 5-star Void Emperor, dealing with a young Taoist in his teens was a piece of cake. Almost everyone thought so, except for one person, and that was Lu Ming. Why does this guy look so familiar? Lu Ming looked at this young Taoist curiously. Lu Ming was sure that he had never seen the young Taoist's appearance before, but he felt that his temperament was very familiar. At this moment, there was also a change on the field. The 5-star Void Emperor of the Lan clan rushed toward the young Taoist at an astonishing speed. With a wave of his hand, a huge palm grabbed at the young Taoist, wanting to suppress him. Chapter 2199. I'll kick. The little Taoist shouted as he kicked the middle-aged man's face. Bang! The middle-aged man was directly kicked. With a scream, his burly body flew out and hit the stone wall of the valley before stopping. He lay there twitching nonstop. Everyone looked at the middle-aged man and sucked in a breath of cold air. The middle-aged man was too miserable. Half of his face had exploded, and he didn't look human anymore. He was wailing nonstop. Many people were shocked. This little Taoist looked very young, but he actually had such terrifying strength. A 5-star Void Emperor couldn't even block a single move from him. Could it be that this little Taoist was transformed by some senior figure? Blue Cloud and the other members of the Lan family also looked a little solemn. This brat is indeed Lu Ming's companion. They are jackals of the same tribe. He publicly injured the experts of the Lan family. There's no need to talk about rules with such a person. Attack together and take him down. Blue Cloud roared. Swoosh! Swoosh! Immediately, all the experts of the Lan family moved. Their figures flashed as they charged towards the little Taoist. Lu Ming touched his nose and was a little speechless. He was about to start a massacre, but he could only stop at this moment. This was good too. If he killed all the people of the Lan family, it would be difficult to enter the two-world city in the future. If he couldn't enter the two-world city, he wouldn't be able to enter the grand pure sky domain. If he stayed in this battlefield for a long time, it would definitely be very dangerous. With this little Taoist taking action, he couldn't be bothered to take action. Nest, so many people are attacking me. Your Lan family has really fallen. Sooner or later, you will be destroyed. I'll kick, the little Taoist shouted, but his hands and feet didn't stop. His figure flashed, and his movement technique was actually extremely fast. He dodged all the attacks of the Lan family's experts, and suddenly kicked out. Bang! A 6-star Void Emperor's face was kicked. He screamed and followed in the footsteps of the previous man. Half of his face exploded, and he lay on the ground, twitching nonstop. You're despicable. Shameless, shameless. I'll kick. The little Taoist continued to shout and suddenly kicked out again. This time he kicked twice in a row. Bang! Bang! The two figures were sent flying by the kick. They lay on the ground twitching, unable to get up for a while. Many people gasped. This was because a 7-star Void Emperor and a 6-star Void Emperor had been sent flying. Everyone understood that this little Taoist's combat strength was terrifyingly high. That was a 7-star Void Emperor. He was already at the peak of the Void Emperor realm. However, such a figure could not withstand a single kick from the little Taoist. The other members of the Lan family were shocked. They wanted to retreat, but it was too late. I kick. The little Taoist made a big fuss. His figure flashed continuously in the air, and his legs kicked out continuously. Bang! Bang! The remaining members of the Lan family were sent flying one by one, lying on the ground, twitching nonstop. Blue Cloud stood there, dumbfounded. It's your turn. The little Taoist looked at Blue Cloud with a cold smile and walked towards Blue Cloud. You! How dare you! The higher-ups of the two-world city have set a rule that the living beings of the heaven realm are not allowed to kill each other after entering the battlefield. How dare you defy the rule? Blue Cloud roared. I didn't kill them. How did I violate the rule? Also, what does it matter if I kill scum like you? Is it a waste of air to keep you alive? The little Taoist said casually. Blue Cloud was shocked and furious. He retreated quickly, but the little Taoist was even faster. In a flash, he caught up with Blue Cloud. Don't kick me, Blue Cloud screamed. Smack! The little Taoist slapped Blue Cloud's face. Blue Cloud screamed. His body spun a few hundred times in the air and smashed heavily on the ground. He lay there twitching nonstop. His face was swollen like a pig's head. I'll satisfy you. Don't kick me, hit me with your hands. The little Taoist curled his lips. The others were speechless. Then the little Taoist rolled his eyes and said, It's a waste to let scum like you, who specialize in framing others. However, there are rules in the two-world city. I'll spare your lives, but you have to be punished. I'll keep your belongings for you first. I'll let you reflect on it. You can take it back after you've thought it through. After saying that, the little Taoist flashed and took away the storage rings of more than 10 Lan family experts. Many people's eyelids twitched. This was too ruthless. They could tell that the little Taoist's safekeeping was just an excuse. He was just looking for an excuse to collect treasures. In the end, the little Taoist came to Blue Cloud. No, don't take my storage ring. Blue Cloud screamed like an innocent girl who had been bullied. He curled up his body and grabbed the storage ring tightly with both hands. This storage ring contained his entire life savings. All of his belongings were inside. If he lost it, he would suffer a great loss. Why are you grabbing it so tightly? Who do you think I am? I'm just keeping it for you. Do you think I'll be greedy for your treasures? The little Taoist berated. No. How could Blue Cloud believe the little Taoist's words? Bang! Bang! At the next moment, the little Taoist kicked down twice. One kick landed on Blue Cloud's face, and the other on Blue Cloud's crotch. Blue Cloud screamed. His body twitched continuously. His eyes rolled back, and he was foaming at the mouth. A top genius of a generation had ended up in such a state. Many people broke out in cold sweat. A gentleman uses his mouth and not his fists. I didn't want to use my fists, but you forced me to use my fists. No, I mean my fists. Why? Why? The little Taoist muttered. He waved his hand and kept Blue Cloud's storage ring. After putting away the ring, the little Taoist's eyes fell upon Blue Cloud's robe. His eyes lit up. This robe is made from the silk of a million-year snow silkworm, right? This is a treasure. It's a waste to keep it on you, so I'll keep it for you. Having said that, he wanted to take off Blue Cloud's clothes. Brother, aren't you going too far? Don't go too far so that we can meet again in the future. Yen, she couldn't take it anymore. He and Blue Cloud were friends. Brat, you want to give me something to keep as well? The little Taoist glanced at Yen Shi. Yen Shi's face was a little gloomy as he said, Although you are very strong, you can't be so lawless. Having said that, Yen Shi waved his hand. Boom! An old man stepped out from behind Yen Shi. He exuded a terrifying aura with a faint glow of a world. This was a true emperor. Yen Shi had brought a true emperor with her, so she was confident. A puny one-star void emperor dares to act arrogantly in front of me? Fine, I'll keep a few more things today. The little Taoist sighed. However, he disappeared the next second and directly rushed towards the true emperor. Chapter 2200. A true emperor from the Yen clan unleashed his world power towards the young Taoist. However, the young Taoist's body flashed and split into 2, then 4, then 8, eventually 16 figures. Kick! Slap! The 16 young Taoists shouted at the same time. Some kicked, while others slapped. However, there was one thing in common. Their legs and palms were covered in runes. Bam! Bam! The young Taoist managed to break through the power of the Yen True Emperor's world. The 16 figures then unleashed a barrage of kicks and slaps on the Emperor's face. The Emperor screamed and followed in the footsteps of the Lan clan. He twitched on the ground, unable to stand up. Hiss! The sound of people sucking in cold air could be heard. They stared at the young Taoist with their mouths agape. This little Taoist was too strong. His opponent was a true emperor, but he was still able to take him down in one go. Yen, she was even paler. At this time, the little Taoist priest looked at Yen Shi. Yen, she was drenched in cold sweat. He squeezed out a smile that was uglier than crying and said, Brother, it's a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. You've taken a fancy to Lan Yun's treasure. Please do as you wish. I won't interfere. *CK off. I'm interested in you now. The young Taoist sneered and rushed towards Yen Shi. More screams came after. Yen Shi's men and Yen Shi herself were taken down as well. The young Taoist then began to take the storage rings of the Yen clan members. The most miserable ones were Yen Shi and Lan Yun. Their identities were not ordinary. They were top-notch heaven's prides. Their wealth was incomparably abundant. Even the clothes on their bodies, the accessories on their heads, and the accessories on their hands were all rare treasures. Therefore, the little Taoist had naturally plundered all of it. To put it nicely, he was keeping it for safekeeping. After that, Yen Shi and Lan Yun were stripped by the little Taoist until they were left with only their underwear. The others were drenched in cold sweat. They were glad that they didn't offend the young Taoist. Being stripped naked in front of everyone would be a big joke. Many were mourning for Blue Cloud and Yen Shi. Today's harvest is not bad. The young Taoist smiled and murmured after putting away the items. Though he spoke softly, others still heard him and felt a toothache. The little Taoist's gaze surveyed the surroundings and swept over everyone. After that, he put his hands behind his back and put on the appearance of an exceptional expert as he said, These people are too despicable. They actually forced others to be test stones, and in the end, they even wanted to kill others. That's why they ended up in this state. Many people looked down on him. Kind. You're the most unkind one here. Of course, no one dared to say it out loud. They only thought about it in their hearts. Otherwise, they might end up like Blue Cloud and the others. Finally, The young Taoist looked at Lu Ming and said, "Brat, I see that you're not well liked here. I see that you're a talent, so why don't you follow me? I'll take you out of here and bring you to eat good food. How about it?" "Okay." Lu Ming nodded without hesitation. So straightforward. The young Taoist was doubtful. "It's just that straightforward. Let's go." Lu Ming smiled. Then he clasped his fists at Lu Hao and the others and said, "Brother Lu Ming will take his leave. Let's go, let's go." The young Taoist placed both hands behind his back and stepped into the air, leaving this valley. Lu Ming followed. Soon they were far away from this valley. On the way, Lu Ming sized up the young Taoist carefully. He looked at him from head to toe, then from tail to head. "Hey, what are you looking at? You don't have any special fetishes, do you?" The young Taoist felt uncomfortable from being stared at. "Have we met before?" Lu Ming suddenly asked. The young Taoist's eyelids twitched. He hurriedly shook his head and said, "No, definitely not. Who am I? Do you think you can meet me just because you want to?" "Oh, is that so? You look very familiar to me, like an old friend." Lu Ming said softly, "Little guy, don't think too much. Meeting me is your fortune and also your great opportunity. Follow me in the future and run errands for me when you're free. There will be benefits for you." The young Taoist's face turned serious. His hands were behind his back, and his back was ramrod straight. He had the demeanor of a peerless expert. It was just that he looked too young. He was only in his teens. No matter how one looked at him, he did not have the demeanor of an expert at all. "Then I'll have to thank you." Lu Ming smiled and clasped his fists. Then he suddenly asked, "Dandan, how did you come from the primordial realm to the heaven realm?" "Who am I? I'm invincible since ancient times. Naturally, I know other passageways." The young Taoist spoke proudly at first, but halfway through, he seemed to have realized something and suddenly stopped. He saw Lu Ming looking at him with a smile that was not a smile. "You are indeed Dandan. You actually dare to not recognize me when you see me?" Lu Ming's gaze was very unfriendly. "Lu Ming, how dare you trick me?" The young Taoist gritted his teeth. To be more precise, he was Dandan. In fact, when he first saw the young Taoist, Lu Ming had been suspicious. Although the young Taoist's aura was concealed very well, and he could not sense it at all, his personality and style were too similar. Lu Ming immediately thought of Dandan. After the young Taoist defeated Blue Cloud and the others, a series of events made Lu Ming even more certain that this guy was Dandan. This also better explained why the young Taoist was completely on Lu Ming's side when he appeared. If it were a stranger, why would he be on Lu Ming's side when he appeared? That was why Lu Ming did not hesitate to follow Dandan just now. However, this guy wanted to show off in front of Lu Ming, but he was exposed by Lu Ming's words. I haven't seen you for many years, but your cultivation has increased very quickly." Lu Ming laughed. He never expected to meet Dandan here, and he was also overjoyed. "Who am I? The number one of all time, the leader of the top 10 battle beasts. Of course my improvement is fast, unlike you, who haven't become an emperor yet." Dandan looked at Lu Ming with disdain, proud of himself. In the past, when he followed Lu Ming, his cultivation was often suppressed by Lu Ming. Now that his cultivation had far surpassed Lu Ming, he immediately felt refreshed. "Dandan, have you recovered your memory?" Lu Ming asked. "Almost, so you can follow me in the future. I'll take you to all kinds of forbidden areas, and there are all kinds of treasures. I guarantee that your cultivation will increase rapidly." Dandan's face was full of pride. "Why are you dressed like a young Taoist?" Lu Ming asked curiously. "After I transformed, I was originally like this. As for this Taoist robe, it's convenient for my movements." Dandan chuckled. "Fraud." 2 words popped up in Lu Ming's mind. Dandan's appearance, coupled with his style of doing things, was a typical fraud template. "By the way, how did you come to the heaven realm? I heard that a group of geniuses came to the primordial realm, but you weren't there." and these geniuses are now cultivating in seclusion. Chapter 2201. Immediately, Lu Ming explained how he came to the heavenly realm. So that's how it is. Fortunately, the passage collapsed, or else it would be really dangerous. Danden's face turned solemn. Then he glanced at Lu Ming and said, "You said that you've mastered many laws at the same time? Show it to me." Lu Ming nodded, and immediately the laws spread out. Danden was dumbfounded. She looked like a fool. After a long time, Danden came to his senses. "Nestle, 7 laws and 2 supreme laws. How did you do it?" Danden said with wide eyes, "So what if you have 7 laws? It's a pity that it's difficult to become an emperor." Lu Ming sighed. "It's indeed difficult to become an emperor. You have a peerless body." Danden muttered and sighed. "Danden, you're always bragging. Don't you know of any way to make me become an emperor?" Lu Ming asked. "You're the bragging one. When did I do that?" Danden widened his eyes angrily, then frowned and thought carefully. After a long time, Danden said, "There are people like you who have mastered many laws below the martial emperor level in the history of the heavenly realm. But in the end, no one became an emperor. Everyone failed. They either died on the way to break through by force, or died from exhaustion of their lifespan. Is there really no other way? I'm not willing to accept this." Lu Ming clenched his fists. "Actually, it's not completely impossible," Danden said again. "Is there really a way?" Lu Ming's eyes lit up. "In ancient times, I knew a person who was a peerless genius. It could be said that he was a rare genius. His ambition was higher than the sky, and he wanted to walk a brand new path, a path that no one had walked before. I don't know how he cultivated. Later on, before he became a martial emperor, he grasped many kinds of laws. He was invincible against those of the same level. No one was his match. Unfortunately, his path was cut short. It was difficult for him to become a martial emperor. No matter what method he used, it was impossible for him to become a martial emperor. Later on, he spent his entire life studying the secrets of controlling many kinds of laws below the martial emperor realm. It is said that in his later years he finally made great progress. However, it was already too late. He did not have much time left, and his potential had been exhausted. As long as you know the method he came up with, it might be able to help you become an emperor." Danden said, "It's been countless years since the ancient era. How can we find his method?" Lu Ming asked, but he wasn't sure either. After all, so many years had passed. According to Danden, at that time, the evil god race had yet to attack the heaven realm. That person's clan is still around. They live in seclusion, somewhere in the grand clarity, heaven domain. Once we leave this place, I'll take you there. Don't worry. If you stick with me, I'll treat you well," Danden said proudly. Lu Ming couldn't be bothered to bicker with Danden. At this moment, he was overjoyed. There was finally a clue. As long as he could find the method left behind by that senior, he might really be able to break through his shackles and become an emperor. "When are we leaving?" Lu Ming asked. "Don't be anxious. This is the most famous battlefield in the ancient era. A terrifying battle broke out between the heaven realm and the alien race. Many experts died here. Although so many years have passed, there must be peerless treasures left behind. This is a rare opportunity that we can't miss. We'll leave after we've collected all the treasures here," Danden said. Lu Ming nodded. He wasn't in a hurry. "Danden, you couldn't have participated in the battle here back then, right?" Lu Ming asked curiously. "No, I was in another battlefield. It was even more tragic than here," Danden said. He seemed to have recalled something and didn't say anything else. The two flew. After a few hours, Danden suddenly stopped. He landed on the ground, and endless runes spread out under his feet. After a while, he revealed a joyful expression and said, "There's something in front. Haha, let's do it." Having said that, he took to his heels, and Lu Ming followed closely behind. After climbing over a few hills, they saw 2 skeletons at the bottom of a cliff. One of the skeletons was the skeleton of a huge beast. It seemed to have been left behind by a tiger-shaped divine beast. The other skeleton was in the shape of a human, but its body was huge. It was 4 to 5 meters tall. The human-shaped skeleton was holding a spear that pierced through the beast-shaped skeleton's skull. One of the beast-shaped skeleton's claws had cracked the human-shaped skeleton's skull. Obviously, the human-shaped skeleton was an expert of the evil god tribe. As for the beast-shaped skeleton, it was a divine beast. The two experts had perished together. Dandan looked at the spear in the human-shaped skeleton's hand with a fiery gaze. In addition, there was a fist-sized crystal under the beast-shaped skeleton. The heart of the realm. Ha! After so many years, the heart of the realm can still be preserved. As long as it contains a trace of energy, it's a great opportunity. Dandan grinned. However, the two of them didn't get close. The things left behind by such a person would probably contain killing intent and be very dangerous. Watch me. Dandan stepped on the ground and endless runes spread out. At the same time, he waved his hands continuously and endless runes shone. This contains the law of array Tao, law of alchemy Tao, law of tools Tao. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Dandan's runes were very profound. It actually combined 3 types of law of inscription Tao. Moreover, it was a perfect combination. It was incomparably mysterious. Dandan kept flashing around the area, and endless runes entered the ground. After a while, Dandan retreated and said, "It's done." Buzz. The ground shone, and endless runes appeared, forming huge words. They were the word destroy. These destroy characters flew toward the spear and the heart of the realm. Bang! When the words came into contact with the spear directly collapsed and turned into ashes. It's a pity that it has lost its spirituality and has become a piece of trash. Dandan shook his head, but in the next moment his eyes lit up, because the heart of the realm suddenly burst out with light. Kill! Kill! Vaguely, they could hear the sounds of killing coming from the heart of the realm. The cultivations of the experts who died here were too strong. Even after so many years, there was still an immortal killing intent lingering in the air. Ordinary experts definitely couldn't do it. Chi. Those destroy characters covered the heart of the realm and began to erase the killing intent on the heart of the realm. The function of this array was very similar to the array set up by the evil god tribe. It could erase the killing intent left behind by experts. Not long after, the sounds of killing in the heart of the realm disappeared and the light on it dimmed. Success! Dandan was overjoyed. He grabbed the fist-sized heart of the realm in his hand. Dandan sensed it and said regretfully, "So many years have passed and its energy is almost exhausted. However, it is still very useful. Lu Ming, you haven't become an emperor yet. This heart of the realm won't be of much use to you. I'll keep it." Chapter 2202. Someone is coming. Suddenly, Dandan looked into the distance. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Streaks of light flew over, and soon 8 figures appeared in the sky. Each of the 8 evil god tribe members had a powerful aura. When their 3 eyes opened and closed, they were as cold as knives. Their gazes swept across the 2 skeletons, and their eyes lit up. They must have obtained the treasures. Kill them. One of the evil god tribe members roared and charged toward Dandan and Lu Ming. Among the 8 evil god tribe members, one of them had a terrifying aura that far surpassed the Void Emperor realm and had reached the true Emperor realm. There were also 6 and 7-star Void Emperors. The weakest 2 were 4-star Void Emperors. You dare to target me? You are courting death. Dandan said coldly. Countless runes appeared on his body, forming a pair of wings made of runes. Lu Ming felt that this pair of wings contained at least 3 types of laws. Swoosh! Dandan's figure disappeared in a flash. His speed was shockingly fast. Lu Ming, I will leave the 2 4-star Void Emperors to you. Leave the rest to me. Dandan's voice rang in Lu Ming's ears. He had already charged toward the other party. With a wave of his hand, 6 huge turtles flew out. These turtles were not living creatures. They were formed by the interweaving of energy and the power of laws. One of them was the largest, and it charged toward the true emperor, evil god, tribe member. The other 5 turtles flew toward the remaining 5 people, missing the 2 weakest ones. The 2 weakest ones were 4-star void emperors. They charged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not take out his bow. He did not need a bow to deal with 2 4-star void emperors. The sword of death was formed, and Lu Ming charged toward the 2 evil god tribe members. Die! 2 purple beams of light shot out from the 3rd eyes of the 2 evil god tribe members, shooting toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming slashed out twice and destroyed the beams of light. The 2 evil god tribe members' expressions changed slightly. They took out their weapons and charged toward Lu Ming. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming clashed with the 2 of them. The bodies of the 2 members of the evil god race trembled violently, and they were pushed back repeatedly. Lu Ming followed up with extreme speed. His sword light did not stop. Within the sword of death, different laws constantly vibrated, forming a terrifying cutting power. The 2 members of the evil god race tried their best to block a few more moves, but they were completely at a disadvantage. After a few moves, one of the members of the evil god race was slashed by Lu Ming's sword light, almost cleaving him into 2. A deep wound appeared on his body, and the power of death and destruction frenziedly drilled into his body, causing him to cough up large mouthfuls of blood. His aura started to weaken. These 2 evil god tribesmen were both purple-scaled evil god tribesmen and could be considered strong. If it were 2 black-scaled 4-star void emperor evil god tribesmen, they would have been killed by Lu Ming in 2 moves. With one of them injured, his battle prowess was greatly reduced. The remaining one was even less of a match for Lu Ming. Come and help us, a member of the evil god race roared. But the only response he got was a scream. The other 6 members of the evil god race were in an even worse state. At this moment, 3 members of the evil god race had already been killed by Dandan. They were all 5-star and 6-star void emperor evil god tribesmen. Bang! Next, a 7-star void emperor was pierced through by Dandan's palm. A burst of energy burst forth, and the other party's body was torn into pieces. In an instant, only 2 of the 6 people who had been fighting Dandan were left. One was a 7-star void emperor, and the other was a true emperor. With Lu Ming's cultivation realm, he could not tell how many stars they were, but their strength was extremely shocking. At this moment, the 2 of them felt chills all over their bodies. How dare you attack me? Kill! Dandan roared. His hands glowed, and a huge tortoise condensed. This huge tortoise was as big as a mountain, and it was very similar to Dandan's original body. The huge tortoise's size was astonishing, filling the sky. Then, like a huge mountain, it pressed down, completely enveloping this area. The 2 members of the evil god race had nowhere to run or dodge. They could only take it head-on. The 2 of them unleashed their full strength, and 2 terrifying attacks blasted towards the huge tortoise. This was especially true for the 1-star true emperor. This was a true emperor with frightening power, much stronger than a 7-star void emperor. He was even stronger than the previous 1-star true emperor from the Yen clan. However, under the suppression of the huge tortoise, the 2 of them could not resist at all. It was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Bang! First, the 7-star void emperor's body directly exploded. Under the terrifying energy, he was reduced to ashes and scattered ashes. Ah! The true emperor also roared, and his body erupted with a resplendent purple light. But it was useless. His body trembled, and the ground under his feet continued to explode. Bang! Finally, the arm of the evil god race's true emperor exploded, and his flesh and blood flew everywhere. Next, his body collapsed inch by inch. A powerful true emperor was also killed by Dandan. When the two 4-star Void Emperors from the evil god tribe saw this, they were scared out of their wits. How could they fight against Lu Ming when they were distracted? Lu Ming seized the opportunity and slashed one of the evil god race's true emperors. The remaining one, who was already heavily injured, was even weaker. Lu Ming caught up in a few steps and killed him with one slash. Lu Ming, your usage of laws is wrong. It's too rough. You didn't cultivate any ancient scriptures, right? Dandin came over and asked. No, this divine art is something I created myself. I can barely exert the power of many laws, but it's not strong enough. I need to deepen my understanding of it. Lu Ming said, No wonder. It's a pity. Although you have mastered many laws, you can't exert the power of the laws very well. I know a few ancient scriptures, but they're very different from the laws you've comprehended. They won't be of much use to you. Dandin said, Ancient scriptures could only be comprehended after becoming a martial emperor because they involved many different laws. Whether a martial emperor had an ancient scripture or not, it would have a huge impact on their cultivation and combat strength. An ancient scripture would record the comprehension and usage of at least 2 laws. A cultivator could use an ancient scripture to deduce and comprehend other laws. For example, an ancient scripture recorded the comprehension and usage of 3 laws. If a cultivator only comprehended one of the 3 laws, he could comprehend this ancient scripture to deduce the other laws and comprehend the other 2 laws. When the ancient scripture was cultivated to the great accomplishment realm, the 3 laws would also be cultivated to the great accomplishment realm. For example, an ancient scripture contained the fire, ice, and lightning laws. A martial emperor who cultivated the fire laws could refer to this ancient scripture to deduce the ice laws and even the lightning laws. Moreover, an ancient scripture would also have a corresponding divine ability technique. For example, if Lu Ming could obtain an ancient scripture that recorded the chaos, death, array Tao, alchemy Tao, tools Tao, force Tao, and devour Tao, he would be able to cultivate the divine art. His strength would skyrocket. These divine arts were all comprehended by previous cultivators. They could perfectly fuse the power of various laws and fully erupt. The more laws an ancient scripture contained, the higher its grade. For example, if an ancient scripture contained 9 laws, the value of this ancient scripture would be immeasurable. This was because a cultivator could follow this ancient scripture and comprehend it until they reached the great emperor realm. There was no need for them to take detours. Referring to an ancient scripture to cultivate was many times better than fumbling around alone. Chapter 2203. An ancient scripture could allow a force to flourish. Similarly, a powerful force couldn't do without an ancient scripture. With an ancient scripture, a martial emperor expert could continue to move forward. Otherwise, they would have no direction and had to rely on themselves. That would be much more difficult. For example, Lu Ming was like that now. He could comprehend any new law as he pleased. If he had an ancient scripture, he could follow the records in the ancient scripture and deduce it. That way, his cultivation speed would naturally be much faster. Unfortunately, the Primal Chaos scripture is incomplete, and I can't go to the Primal Chaos Palace now. Thinking of this, Lu Ming frowned. Previously, Tu-Yi had told him that as long as he defeated the Son of Chaos, he could go to the Primal Chaos Palace and inherit it completely. Now, he had already defeated Yuan Xan. However, when he was in the Primal Realm, Lu Ming had used the Primal Chaos token many times to enter the Primal Chaos Palace, but there was no response at all. If he had the Primal Chaos scripture, he wouldn't have to fumble around like this. Dandin, your cultivation has reached the true Emperor realm? Lu Ming asked. Dandin's performance was incomparably fierce. A true emperor from the evil god tribe was killed by Dandin. Lu Ming was very curious. No, I'm just a peak void emperor. But killing a few low-level true emperors is easy, Dandin said proudly. He glanced at Lu Ming and said, Kid, don't think that you're so great just because you've comprehended 7 laws. I'll show you mine. After saying that, Dandan waved his hand. In the void, the power of laws gathered crazily and filled the air with a bright radiance. 1 type, 2 types, 3 types, there were a total of 9. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. Dandan had mastered a total of 9 laws. Among them, Lu Ming saw the strongest law, the primordial law. The other 8 were all King Dao laws. Array, Dao, Pale Dao, Equipment Dao, Immortal Flame, Destructive Lightning, and some of the laws were extremely powerful. At least 5 of them had reached the 2nd level. No wonder why Dandan was so strong, able to kill a true emperor as a peak void emperor. Seeing Lu Ming's dumbfounded expression, Dandan's vanity was incomparably satisfied, and he laughed strangely. "Brat, did you see that? This king is unparalleled in this world. I've already grasped 9 types of laws, and 6 of them have reached the 2nd stage. Coupled with the ancient scriptures I've grasped, what's the point of jumping realms to fight? Not to mention a 2-star true emperor, I can even kill a 3-star void emperor." Dandan was immensely proud of himself. With his hands behind his back, he looked unparalleled. This guy, Lu Ming pursed his lips, but at the same time he felt relieved. Dandan did not die at all back then. He was only heavily injured. So he turned into an egg and was reborn. Now that he had recovered all of his memories, his cultivation speed was naturally astonishing. No one could compare to him. He was different from Bubble. Bubble was a brand new life, so he had to comprehend it step by step. After being proud for a while, Dandan looked at Lu Ming with his hands behind his back and said, "Brat, I see that you've also comprehended the Tao of Equipment, Tao of Array, and Tao of Alchemy. I can teach you a divine art. It won't increase your combat strength by much, but it will greatly increase your ability to escape." "Oh, what divine art?" Lu Ming asked curiously. Dandan had been by his side in the past and had been suppressed by him. She had not been able to make a name for herself. Now that her cultivation level had surpassed Lu Ming's and she had regained her memory, she naturally had to show off in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming cooperated with him and let him show off more. When he felt comfortable, Lu Ming could even gain some benefits. Sure enough, Dandan was incomparably comfortable, and his vanity was greatly satisfied. He took out a jade talisman and engraved it before tossing it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming caught it and scanned it with his spiritual consciousness. He realized that it was a divine art. The 6-feathered mystical wings was a divine art. This divine art was made up of 6 types of laws. Only by mastering these 6 types of laws could the divine art be cultivated to the highest level. Of course, 3 of them could also be cultivated, but their power was relatively weaker. These 3 types were the Tao of Array, Tao of Equipment, and Tao of Alchemy. What a magical divine art! Unfortunately, it's not an ancient scripture, but a pure divine art. I can't use it to deduce other laws. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Let's leave this place first. You can slowly comprehend it along the way, Dandan said. Lu Ming nodded, and the 2 immediately left the place. Next, Lu Ming split a portion of his attention to hurry on the road. Most of his attention was on comprehending the 6-feathered mystical wings. A few days later, Lu Ming had already comprehended it. With a thought, the 3 types of laws, Tao of Array, Tao of Equipment, and Tao of Alchemy, filled the air. A pair of transparent wings appeared behind him. With a flap of the wings, Lu Ming's speed increased exponentially. He flickered in the void as fast as lightning, and it was difficult to capture his trajectory. Amazing! Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Using this divine art allowed his speed to increase by several times. This was only cultivated with 3 types of laws. If he mastered all 6 types of laws, his speed would be astonishing. I've just cultivated it. As I cultivate in the future, my speed will be even faster. Moreover, the Tao of Equipment and Tao of Alchemy are not perfected yet. If they are, my speed will increase too. Also, the other 3 types of laws to cultivate the 6-feathered mystical wings are all Tao of Kings. One of them is the Tao of Penetration. Should I cultivate this type of law in the future? Lu Ming's mind continued to ponder. In the end, he decided to take it slow. As the Tao of alchemy and Tao of equipment were not perfected yet, he planned to cultivate these two types of laws to perfection first before considering comprehending other laws. Even so, his speed had increased exponentially, and his ability to protect himself had greatly increased. Very quickly, another few days passed. Lu Ming's control of the six-feathered mystical wings was becoming more and more proficient. In the past few days, they had also gained something. They had obtained a total of 2 world cores. Although the loss of energy was very serious, there was still some left. To a martial emperor, this was definitely a treasure that could help increase one's cultivation. This time, Dandan was kind enough to give one to Lu Ming. Lu Ming naturally took it without hesitation. If he became an emperor in the future, this thing would be of great use. "Wait, there's someone," suddenly Dandan said in a low voice. Then he restrained his aura to the extreme. Dandan had also mastered a concealment technique. Its effect was not inferior to the divine aura technique at all. Lu Ming's eyes flashed as he activated his divine aura technique. Then the two hid under a rock. Whoosh! In the sky, a rainbow light flew past at an astonishing speed. Such a strong cultivation! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The rainbow light swept past, but Lu Ming still saw it. It was a powerful evil god tribe member. Definitely not an ordinary true emperor. A peak true emperor dares to fly at such a fast speed? Courting death. Dandan muttered and transmitted his voice to Lu Ming. Kill. At this time a battle cry shook the world. Chapter 2204. Lu Ming and Dandan hurriedly walked out from under the stone and looked ahead. They saw a resplendent radiance in the void before them as a figure appeared. This was a human. His killing intent shook the sky. With a loud shout, the sky shook. He held a saber in his hand and slashed at the evil god tribe member. The evil god tribe member roared and unleashed his full cultivation. However, it was useless. The saber light slashed, and the evil god tribe member was split into 2. After killing the evil god tribe member, the figure stood in the air. After a while, it turned into specks of light and dissipated. It was an indestructible mark of an expert. When it sensed an expert approaching, it would appear and kill. Even true emperors will be in danger if they enter this ancient battlefield. It's fine if a high-level true emperor keeps a low profile. Flying at such a high speed is simply courting death. Dandan said disdainfully. Immediately, the two of them rushed over and put away the true emperor's storage ring and bracelet. In the blink of an eye, another few days passed. However, they didn't find anything during these few days. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, a violent explosion came from ahead. The two of them retracted their auras and flew into the sky. They hid in the clouds and slowly floated forward. Not long after, they saw a castle in front of them. At this time, a group of evil god tribe members surrounded the castle and bombarded it continuously. The castle was built with an unknown material. It looked very old. The gate of the castle was tightly shut and there was a layer of light on the gate. Those evil god tribe members were bombarding the gate of the castle, wanting to break it open. There's actually a castle here. Lu Ming was incomparably astonished. They had been here for so many days, but this was the first time they saw a building. A castle here is probably no small matter. It might be the palace of a peerless expert in the past. Dandan's eyes were shining. Dandan, could it be that you want to go in? But there are so many evil god tribe members in front. The two of us are far from enough. Lu Ming said there were at least 100 evil god tribe members in front of the castle. From the way they attacked the gate of the castle, it could be seen that there were many experts and true emperors. There were even high-level true emperors. The fiend god tribe sent a large number of experts this time. High-level true emperors were in danger here since they could be sensed by the imprint and killed. However, There would always be some lucky ones who wouldn't encounter the mark of a powerhouse. Dandan was strong, but he wasn't a match for a high-level true emperor. The two of them frowned as they tried to think of a countermeasure. I can lay down a great killing formation in advance. If I can lure the evil god race into the great formation, I can kill them. However, I need to lure them in first. Dandan frowned and muttered, I'll do it. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. You're going to lure them out? No, you might have learned the 6 feathered godwings and increased your speed. But you're still not fast enough against a true emperor. You can't escape. Dandan shook his head. Don't worry. What if I attack from over 100 li away? Lu Ming smiled, and the big bow appeared in his hand. Dandan looked at the big bow carefully and said, Fallen Star Bow. This is the Fallen Star Bow. Brat, you actually got the Fallen Star Bow? As she spoke, Dandan almost drooled. She reached out to grab the bow. Lu Ming quickly put it away. Dandan looked at Lu Ming with a sad face. You know the origin of this bow? Lu Ming asked. Of course, this bow was famous in the ancient era. It was the weapon of a peerless expert. It was said that one arrow could shoot down the stars in the sky. Unfortunately, it has lost too much of its spirituality. It's not as powerful as it used to be, Dandan said, but his eyes were still burning. Fallen Star Bow. Lu Ming whispered. He was already very satisfied. Even though his spirituality was severely damaged, it was enough for him now. He could only pull it apart a little. Dandan, let's go back and set up the formation. I'll go lure people out. Lu Ming changed the topic so that Dandan wouldn't keep thinking about the Fallen Star Bow. Dandan sighed and lamented the unfairness of the heavens. Why was it that someone as brilliant and peerless as him wasn't as lucky as Lu Ming? Eventually, the two retreated and chose a spot several thousand miles away. Dandan began setting up the formation. Dandan's mastery of formations and runes had reached an unimaginable level. Any law could be turned into runes in his hands and fused into the formation. This was a realm that Lu Ming was far from reaching. An hour later, Dandan shouted, It's almost done. This formation is enough to kill a peak true emperor. Go and lure people out. I hope they haven't broken into the castle yet. Lu Ming nodded and flashed in the direction of the castle. Not long after, Lu Ming arrived 100 miles away from the castle. Lu Ming stood in the air and took out the Fallen Star Bow. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, he could shoot from 1,000 miles away with the Fallen Star Bow. However, the power would be relatively weaker. At a distance of 100 miles, the power of the Fallen Star Bow could be maximized. Lu Ming pulled the Fallen Star Bow. Then a rainbow-colored arrow pierced through the void and shot toward an evil god, tribe member, outside the castle. The speed was too fast, and it was a sneak attack. The other party couldn't react at all. Bang! A 6-star Void Emperor from the evil god tribe was directly killed by the arrow. Who is it? The other evil god tribe members roared. They looked around and immediately found Lu Ming. It's a human. You're courting death. An evil god tribe member roared. Lu Ming turned and left. He executed the 6 feathered divine wings. His speed was astonishing as he ran toward the place where Dandan had set up the formation. The gate of this castle is about to be breached. Attack the gate first. A true emperor from the evil god tribe spoke. They didn't chase after Lu Ming. Lu Ming ran for a while and realized that no one from the evil god tribe was chasing after him. Nestle, it seems like killing one isn't enough. Let's kill a few more. Lu Ming returned and landed 100 miles away. Swish, swish, swish. This time, Lu Ming pulled the bow and shot 3 arrows. This time, the evil god tribe was prepared. However, it was still useless. 2 6-star Void Emperors and a 7-star Void Emperor were seriously injured. Damn it, that human is simply courting death. The few of you follow me and kill him. An evil god tribe true emperor roared and chased after Lu Ming with a few high-level Void Emperors. Lu Ming executed the 6 feathered divine wings and turned to run. The distance of a few thousand miles was covered in the blink of an eye. Boom! In the sky, an incomparably huge turtle suppressed down. An evil god, tribe true emperor, and a few high-level void emperors were directly suppressed to death. Dandan stepped down from the sky and said, "It's just a one-star true emperor. I don't even need to activate the formation. Lu Ming, you can't do it. Lure a few more experts over. How about this? Leave the fallen star bow to me, and I'll lure them over." Dandan's eyes darted around. Without guessing, Lu Ming knew that Dandan was eyeing the fallen star bow. Chapter 2205. Lu Ming returned to a place 100 miles away from the castle. The moment he returned, he was discovered by the people of the evil god tribe. "It's that human and again. He's not dead. Damn it. Those who chased after him earlier are most likely dead." Some of the evil god tribe members roared. Lu Ming stood in the air 100 miles away with a cold smile on his face. Then he extended his middle finger and pointed downwards. This provocative action made the evil god tribe even more furious. Then Lu Ming took out the fallen star bow and pulled the bowstring. Swoosh! A 7-colored bowstring shot towards a member of the evil god tribe. This member of the evil god tribe was a high-level true emperor. Lu Ming did not kill the Void Emperor. Killing a few more Void Emperors was useless to the overall situation. The arrow arrived in front of the high-level Void Emperor in the blink of an eye. The evil god tribe member roared angrily. A destructive light burst forth from his third eye and collided with the arrow. Boom! A dazzling light burst forth in the sky. The arrow shot by Lu Ming was destroyed. As expected with his current cultivation, the arrow shot by him was ineffective against a true emperor, let alone a high-level true emperor. However, this action completely angered the high-level true emperor. However, Lu Ming could not be bothered. He shot a few more arrows consecutively, all aimed at the high-level true emperor. Of course, they could not hurt the other party, but they had completely angered him. Courting death. Kill this ant. In an instant, several members of the evil god tribe rushed towards Lu Ming. There were a total of 4 of them, all high-level true emperors. They were incomparably terrifying, and their speed was astonishing. Lu Ming turned and ran. His 6-feathered divine wings flapped nonstop as he ran towards the place where Dandan had set up the formation. However, the evil god tribe members behind him were rapidly closing the distance between them and Lu Ming. They were all high-level, true emperors. Their speed was too fast. Even if Lu Ming used his 6-feathered divine wings, it was useless. The distance between them was rapidly closing. Fortunately, it was only a distance of a few thousand miles, and he could cover it in the blink of an eye. If he were any further, Lu Ming would really be caught up with. Even so, when Lu Ming arrived at the place where Dandan had set up the Grand Array, the other party had almost caught up to him. Lu Ming swooped down and flew along the ground. The other party followed suit and chased after Lu Ming with extreme speed. Brat Dai, one of the members of the evil god race, shot out a terrifying light from his eyes. A beam of destructive light shot towards Lu Ming. Danger! Lu Ming was shocked. This light of destruction was too terrifying. If he was hit by it, only death awaited him. As Lu Ming dashed forward, he turned around and drew his bow. An arrow flew towards the light of destruction, but it was destroyed by the light of destruction. The light of destruction did not stop and continued to blast towards Lu Ming. Could it be that I have to use the sword of the Celestial Emperor? A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Unless it was a last resort, Lu Ming did not want to use the energy of the Celestial Thearcha's physical body. This time, the Celestial Thearcha's physical body did not have much energy stored, only slightly more than 10%. Once he used it, it would be easy to exhaust the energy inside. Just then, the surrounding void lit up. A tortoise shell condensed and blocked the beam of light. Dong! The light of destruction struck the tortoise shell and let out a violent boom. The tortoise shell was not destroyed and blocked the light of destruction. I've reached the grand array. Lu Ming was overjoyed. At this moment, Dandan's figure appeared in the sky. His body was filled with endless runes, communicating with heaven and earth. Kill! He let out a low bellow. On the ground and in space, endless runes appeared. Then, the runes condensed into many divine beasts. There were true dragons, phoenixes, cheilants, rocks, and so on. These divine beasts surrounded the 4 members of the evil god race. Not good. We've fallen into a trap. Charge out. One of the members of the evil god race was shocked, knowing that they had fallen into a trap. It's too late to leave now. Dandan sneered. Roar! The true dragon roared and twisted its body, pouncing toward one of the members of the evil god race. At the same time, the phoenix let out a long cry. The rocks spread their wings, and the cheilants stepped on the sky. All the divine beasts pounced toward the 4 members of the evil god race. The 4 members of the evil god race erupted with all their strength, trying their best to resist the attacks. That kind of aura shocked Lu Ming. So strong. They are at least 5-star true emperors, or even 6-star true emperors. Lu Ming clicked his tongue. Back in the ancient moon, sacred ground, Lu Ming had destroyed the Golden Crow race, Wan clan, Feng clan, and so on. At that time, he had controlled his physical body and felt the power of those high-level true emperors. For example, the patriarch of the Golden Crow race, the patriarch of the Wan clan, the palace master of the Phoenix Palace, and so on. The strength of these overlords was only so. However, the 4 members of the evil god race were no match for the various divine beasts. It was completely one-sided. Pooh! The arm of one of the members of the evil god race was torn off by the true dragon. Blood splattered everywhere. Next, the chest of another member of the evil god race was pierced by the phoenix's sharp claws. Next, the great rock flew over and decapitated him with its blade-like wings. The battle was one-sided. It didn't take long for the 4 members of the evil god race to be killed. Lu Ming was shocked. Dandan said that his formation could kill peak true emperors. It seemed like he wasn't just joking. 1 6-star true emperor and 3 5-star true emperors. Haha, our harvest this time isn't bad. More than half of the enemy's peak experts are probably here. Dandan laughed. The enemy had more than 100 people, but there were only 6 or 7 high-level true emperors. 4 of them were killed in a short time. After all, it wasn't easy for a high-level true emperor to come here. As long as the enemy's high-level true emperors were eliminated, Dandan wouldn't need to fear the enemy anymore. Let's pack up and hide. The enemy will send someone to check on them after seeing that they haven't returned. Lu Ming suggested. Dandan nodded and cleaned up the corpses of the members of the evil god race. After cleaning up the scene, the 2 of them went to a valley not far away. Lu Ming took out a pile of origin stones and absorbed their energy to recover his saint power. Just now he had been drawing his bow and shooting 7 or 8 arrows in a row. It had consumed a lot of his saint power. Not long after, Lu Ming's saint power was restored to its peak. However, no one from the evil god race came. The 2 of them were puzzled. Logically speaking, the evil god race should have sent someone to check on them after the powerful true emperors had left. But now, no one from the evil god race came. This was very strange. Could it be that they have broken through the gate and entered the castle? Lu Ming, let's go take a look together. Dandan said. Lu Ming nodded, and the 2 of them flew toward the castle. But not long after, they heard intense battle cries. There was a fierce battle at the entrance of the castle. It's them. From afar, Lu Ming and Dandan saw that the ones attacking the evil god race were Blue Cloud, Yanxi, and the others from the Heaven Realm. There were more people from the Heaven Realm, more than 200 people. Moreover, there were many more experts compared to the last time they gathered in the valley. There were even a few high-level, true emperors completely suppressing the evil god race. Damn it, these people actually took advantage of us. Dandan gritted his teeth. Chapter 2206. If they hadn't killed 4 high-level true emperors, the people from the Heaven Realm might not have been a match for the evil god tribe. But now they had completely suppressed the other party. The people from the evil god tribe were killed one after another. The people from the evil god tribe roared, but it was useless in the end. A few high-level true emperors were also killed by the experts from the Heaven Realm. More than 100 people from the evil god tribe were all killed. Then the experts from the Heaven Realm began to bombard the gate of the castle. Rumble! The gate of the castle kept exploding. The light that covered it flickered, but it was much dimmer than before. It seemed like it would be destroyed soon. Let's disguise ourselves and go over. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Dandan. Just what I want. Dandan nodded, a cold light flashing in his eyes. They didn't want to let others get away with it so easily, especially when Blue Cloud and Yanxu were among them. Their appearances changed rapidly. Then they changed their clothes and became completely different people. Then the two of them flew toward the castle. Who's there? Someone noticed them and swept his gaze over them. We're on the same side, on the same side. Dandan hurriedly shouted. When everyone saw that they weren't from the evil god tribe, they were relieved. If they weren't from the evil god tribe, they were naturally from the Heaven Realm. Blue Cloud's gaze also swept over Lu Ming and Dandan. I thought it was Lu Ming and Dandan, but it turns out that it wasn't them. What a pity. Otherwise, I would have crippled them this time. Blue Cloud muttered. This time, the Lan family had sent another expert, including high-level true emperors. He was full of confidence. As long as he met Lu Ming and Dandan, he would definitely make them regret it. At the thought of being beaten up so badly by Dandan, Blue Cloud went crazy with hatred. Blue Cloud didn't avoid it. Lu Ming and Dandan heard it clearly. Creak! Dandan gritted his teeth and rolled his eyes. Lu Ming knew that Dandan was definitely up to no good and was thinking about how to deal with Blue Cloud. Boom! Boom! At this moment, the gate of the castle began to shake violently. It's going to be blasted open. Put in more effort. Many people roared and attacked with even more vigor. Trash from the Heaven Realm, die. At this moment, a furious roar came from the distance. Streaks of purple light streaked across the sky and rushed over. They were people from the evil god race. Moreover, their numbers were extremely shocking, numbering over 100 people. They were all experts, and their bodies were covered with purple scales. Previously, Lu Ming had learned from Dandan. The evil god race also had different levels. The Black Scale Evil God tribe was the most ordinary evil god tribe. Their status was also the lowest, and their battle prowess was also relatively weak. As for the Purple-Scaled Evil God tribe, they were the nobles of the Evil God tribe. In a battle of the same level, their strength was far above the Black-Scale Evil God tribe. Above the Purple-Scaled Evil God tribe, there were the nobler Evil God tribe. For example, the Evil God tribe's royal family had even stronger battle prowess. They were almost invincible in a battle of the same level. However, their numbers were extremely small. The expressions of the people from the Heaven Realm changed. Quick, blast open the gate! Someone roared. Almost everyone attacked. Streaks of dazzling light bombarded the gate of the castle. Boom! With a loud explosion, the light of the gate of the castle was defeated and the gate opened. Charge in! The people from the Heaven Realm rushed in one after another. Kill! Behind them, the Evil God tribe also charged in. They chased closely behind the experts from the Heaven Realm and rushed in. Lu Ming and Dandan also followed the crowd and rushed in. The moment they rushed in, they didn't see the inside of the castle as they had imagined. Instead, they saw a vast stretch of hills that stretched as far as the eye could see. This was like a small world. After the castle, they actually came to a small world. Kill! Behind them, the Evil God tribe charged in. The two groups of people fought fiercely. Lu Ming and Dandan were mixed in the crowd. They symbolically attacked and exchanged blows with two members of the Evil God tribe. Lu Ming didn't even attack. He hid behind Dandan because if he attacked, many laws would be exposed. There were hundreds of people from both sides fighting each other. It was very tragic. From time to time, there would be experts killed, forever falling in this area. Lu Ming discovered that Blue Cloud and Yen Shi were accompanied by experts. They were very strong and were high-level true emperors. Clearly, the Lan family and Yen family were terrifying forces in the heaven realm. They even sent high-level true emperors. It was very dangerous for high-level true emperors to enter here. If they were unlucky, they would die. Those who were sent in had to be prepared to die. If they weren't strong and had a deep foundation, they wouldn't dare to do so. Swoosh! Swoosh! Just as the two sides were engaged in a fierce battle, several blood-red figures rushed over from the front at an extremely fast speed. That is, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He saw that there were humanoid and beast-like figures among those blood-colored figures. After rushing over, they directly pounced on the people from the heaven realm and the evil god tribe. Roar! A huge blood-colored wave also pounced on Lu Ming. Dandan appeared and kicked the huge blood-colored wolf away. "It's a puppet," Dandan said. At the same time, Lu Ming also saw that it was indeed a puppet. It was a strange puppet with an incomparably dense, killing intent. Its entire body was blood-red and it even reeked of blood. Moreover, it didn't fear death and kept pouncing on the people from both sides. The experts from the heaven realm and the evil god tribe could only stop fighting and focus on dealing with these blood-colored puppets. Bang! 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 The blood-colored puppets exploded one after another. Not long after, the blood-colored puppets that charged over were finally mostly killed. However, the experts from the heaven realm and the evil god tribe also left behind dozens of corpses. Both sides gathered at one side and sized each other up. Their killing intent was cold. However, no one made a move for the time being. This was very likely a small world, left behind by an unparalleled expert. There might be a great, fortuitous encounter in it. The people from both sides had the same idea. They would search for the treasure first and obtain the fortuitous encounter. Then they would kill the other party. Let's go! The first to move was the evil god tribe. They charged forward along the left side and disappeared among the hills. Then the people from the heaven realm also moved. They charged forward along the right side. Lu Ming and Dandan followed in the middle of the crowd. Roar! Roar! Roars rang out from time to time. Some blood-colored puppets moved between these hills. The moment they saw living beings, they would pounce on them. However, they were all defeated by them. After advancing for a distance, they still didn't discover anything. Let's move forward separately. This way, our chances of obtaining fortuitous encounters will be higher. Blue Cloud was the first to speak. The others also nodded in agreement. Then the people from the heaven realm split into groups and moved forward separately. Blue Cloud and Yen Shi led the experts from the Lan family and the Yen family to gather together and move in one direction. Both of their families had experts. There were high-level true emperors and low-level true emperors. They were very confident and didn't want to be with others. Let's follow them, Dandan whispered. Chapter 2207. The world behind the castle looked like a small world, with the castle's gate as its entrance. It was also very desolate inside, with not a single blade of grass growing. Moreover, there were some blood-colored puppets scattered around. Blue Cloud and Yen Shi led their clansmen and gathered together. There were about 20 of them with many experts. Along the way, they killed many blood-colored puppets. At the same time, they also saw a few skeletons, but they were all from the evil god race. There were no treasures left behind. These guys are still thinking about dealing with us. Unforgivable. They even dared to target me. Behind them, Dandan ground his teeth, cold light flashing in his eyes. Lu Ming rubbed his nose, thinking, they were bullied so badly by you. It would be strange if you don't want to take revenge. However, Lu Ming also wanted to get rid of Blue Cloud and the others without anyone knowing. He knew that Dandan was thinking of a plan and immediately asked, "What's your idea?" "Let's lure the evil god race over and let them fight each other. What do you think?" Dandan suggested. Great minds think alike. Let's go, let's go. Lu Ming smiled. Then the two heroes sneakily headed in the direction of the evil god race. The two of them completely concealed their auras and carefully avoided the blood-colored puppets. Not long after, they saw a group of evil god race members. Evil god race members die. Dandan roared and rushed over. Even though he was very far away, he slapped out with his palms. Endless runes condensed into several sword lights, slashing toward the evil god race members. Pooh! Pooh! 2 high-level Void Emperors and a 1-star True Emperor were killed by Dandan directly. Lu Ming took out the fallen star bow from afar and shot out 2 arrows, killing 2 Void Emperors of the evil god race. Heavenly Realm members kill. The evil god race was enraged. There was a blood feud between the 2 races. Once they met, they would fight to the death. Now Lu Ming and Dandan actually dared to take the initiative to kill their people. They were simply courting death. Instantly, a group of evil god race members charged toward Dandan and Lu Ming. Run! Dandan screamed and turned to run. Behind him, the 6-feathered divine wings appeared, and his speed was astonishing. As for Lu Ming, he had already put away his fallen star bow and used his 6-feathered divine wings to rush towards Blue Cloud and the others. Soon, they saw Blue Cloud and the others. Blue Cloud, come and help us. Let's kill those evil god tribe bastards together. Lu Ming and Dandan both shouted and rushed towards Blue Cloud and the others. Blue Cloud and the others were carefully exploring when they suddenly heard a few loud shouts. Looking in the direction of the sound, Blue Cloud immediately wanted to curse. He saw Lu Ming and Dandan making a big fuss as they rushed over. Behind them, there was a group of evil god tribe members. There were over 20 of them. All of you, scram! Blue Cloud roared. Naturally, he did not recognize Lu Ming and Dandan because the 2 of them had disguised themselves. Lu Ming and Dandan did not seem to hear Blue Cloud and continued to make a big fuss as they rushed towards Blue Cloud and the others. When they rushed into Blue Cloud and the others, Dandan shouted, "Kill those bastards from the evil god tribe! You are the ones who will die." The members of the evil god race roared in rage and launched attacks at them. In their opinion, the people of the Heaven Realm were all in the same group. Immediately, 2 Lan family Void Emperors were killed by the evil god tribe. The Lan family and Yen family had no choice but to counterattack and fight with the evil god tribe. However, the Lan family and Yen family had indeed sent many experts. There was 1 high-level True Emperor each, and they were all 6-star True Emperors. They were very powerful. The evil god tribe only had 1 6-star True Emperor and 2 5-star True Emperors. They were suppressed in an instant. The battle between the 2 sides was abnormally fierce, and people were killed continuously. Lu Ming and Dandan flashed through the crowd with astonishing speed, dodging the attacks one after another. In the end, the Yen family and Lan family's top experts were stronger. A 6-star True Emperor killed 2 5-star True Emperors of the evil god tribe. Then he joined forces with another 6-star True Emperor to kill the 6-star True Emperor of the evil god tribe. In the end, the 6-star True Emperor paid a heavy price and killed the evil god tribe's 6-star True Emperor. With the death of the 6-star True Emperor, the evil god tribe could no longer resist and scattered. The experts of the Lan family and Yen family caught up and killed them all. In this battle, the evil god tribe was wiped out, but the Lan family and Yen family were also heavily injured. More than 10 of them died in the battle, and a few were seriously injured. Even the 6-star True Emperor was heavily injured by the evil god tribe's final counterattack. Blue Cloud and Yen, she's expression darkened. They looked at Lu Ming and Dandan with murderous intent in their eyes. It was all Lu Ming and Dandan's fault. If they didn't bring the evil god tribe here, they wouldn't have suffered such a great loss. At this time, a figure flickered, not far away. People from Celestial World rushed over after hearing the battle. "Thank you for saving us. Otherwise, we would be in danger. People from Celestial World should help each other. Before Blue Cloud's group could speak, Dandan spoke first. With one sentence, he tied them together, making it difficult for Blue Cloud's group to flare up. Blue Cloud and Yen, she felt their chests tighten and almost vomited blood. Dandan was the first to thank them and tied them to Celestial World. Two World City had a rule that people from Celestial World couldn't kill each other in the battlefield. They had to fight the enemy together. They really couldn't find a reason to deal with Lu Ming and Dandan. Moreover, there were other people here. The two of you, stay away from us. Blue Cloud gritted his teeth and said. Then he asked people to keep the storage bracelet left behind by the evil god tribe and left. What a pity, what a pity. Dandan sighed. He felt it was a pity that the evil god tribe couldn't kill Blue Cloud's group. Lu Ming also felt it was a pity. Why don't we do it again? Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Dandan. Kid, you've become bad. But I like it. Hee hee. Dandan smiled. Immediately, the two of them sneakily followed behind Blue Cloud's group. This time, Blue Cloud's group was much more cautious and looked around. However, Lu Ming and Dandan's method of concealing their aura was too brilliant. They didn't notice them at all. After secretly observing for a while, the two of them rushed toward the evil god tribe again. After a while, the two of them shouted and rushed toward Blue Cloud's group. Nest, it's you guys again. Damn it! The moment Blue Cloud saw Lu Ming's group, he cursed. He was really angry. Then, Blue Cloud's group also turned and ran. This time, they didn't want to be taken advantage of. Nest, they actually ran away. Help! Dandan screamed miserably. Together with Lu Ming, they chased after Lan Yun and the rest at lightning speed. Get lost! Blue Cloud roared at the two of them. We're all from the Celestial Realm, but you guys are leaving us in the lurch. Lu Ming shouted, You guys are courting death. Don't drag us down with you. Blue Cloud bellowed, Help! Chapter 2208. Blue Cloud, Yan Shi, and the rest ran in front while Lu Ming and Dandan chased after them. Behind them were a bunch of evil god tribe experts. The three groups were very fast. In the blink of an eye, they had crossed a large mountain forest. The commotion here finally attracted the attention of others. A group of people flew over. It was the other people from the Heaven Realm. When they saw the evil god tribe, they charged over. When the evil god tribe saw that the number of Heaven Realm experts had increased, they didn't dare to chase after them anymore. They turned around and ran. What a pity! Dandan sighed. It was a pity that they didn't manage to kill Blue Cloud and the rest this time. You guys are courting death. At this moment, Blue Cloud was extremely furious. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he led his men and charged toward Lu Ming and Dandan. What are you guys trying to do? You want to attack your own people in this battlefield? Dandan shouted immediately. You guys have brought the evil god tribe members to charge at us time and time again. I suspect that you guys are doing it on purpose to frame us. Blue Cloud said coldly, Bullshit! I do have a grudge with the evil god tribe. When I see them, I don't want to let them go. Hence, I went to kill them. However, there are too many of them, so we can only run. I didn't expect to meet you guys twice. This means that we are fated. Dandan began to lie through her teeth, spouting nonsense. However, the other party couldn't refute this reason. Was it wrong to kill the evil god tribe? Was it wrong to run when they couldn't win? They just happened to run into Blue Cloud and the rest. They could only blame themselves for being unlucky. Blue Cloud, Yan Shi, and the rest were tongue-tied, unable to say a word. They were so angry that they were about to vomit blood. Their eyes were wide open, and they couldn't wait to tear Lu Ming and Dandan into pieces. However, with the other people from the Heaven Realm around, they couldn't do anything. Let's go! In the end, Blue Cloud and the rest were helpless. They could only bring their men and leave this place. Looks like this trick won't work. These guys have learned their lesson. Dandan muttered. After that, the two of them moved forward and began to search the area. Look, there's something strange over there. Suddenly, Lu Ming looked ahead. Over there, one could vaguely see an expanse of red, light jumping about. It was abnormally bright, dyeing half the sky red like blood. Whoosh! Whoosh! Obviously, the others also noticed the abnormality and flew in that direction. Red light is everywhere. There are treasures here. Let's go. Dandin's eyes burned with passion, and the two of them flew towards that area. Streaks of rainbow light also flew over from other directions. This direction was where the experts of the heaven realm were searching. Hence, there were no experts from the evil god race rushing over. Up ahead, there was a towering mountain. On one side of the mountain, there was a cliff that was thousands of meters high. The red light was coming from the bottom of the cliff. Everyone flew to the bottom of the cliff and found that there was a pool there. The pool was not filled with water, but with a bright red liquid that looked like blood. In the pool, there was a figure sitting cross-legged. Her entire body was covered by the bright red liquid, but one could still vaguely see her appearance. It was a peerless beauty with an explosive figure. Mullins! Lu Ming was dumbfounded. He never thought that he would meet Mullins here. Mullins was cultivating or receiving some kind of inheritance. A small blood-red pagoda floated above her head, emitting a vast pressure. It was high and mighty, like the might of the heavens. Needless to say, this small pagoda was definitely a supreme treasure. Treasure! This is definitely a treasure. Many people's eyes burned with passion, flickering with greed. Dandin was the same. He almost drooled as he stared at the small pagoda. This is the treasure of a powerful existence. Dandin whispered, his eyes shining. She's my friend. Lu Ming hurriedly transmitted his voice to Dandin, causing Dandin's face to fall. However, Blue Cloud, Yanxi, and the others could no longer hold back. This treasure is mine. Mine. One by one, figures rushed out and rushed towards Mullins, grabbing the small blood-red pagoda above her head. Damn it! Lu Ming shouted angrily. He wanted to help, but it was too late. Clang! Suddenly a sword chime was heard. On the cliff behind the blood pool, there was a cave. The sword humming sound came from that cave. Then, a ray of sword light flew out from the cave at an astonishing speed. It was like a ray of light that was swimming around. Puff! Puff! A few of the weaker cultivators were directly cut in half by the sword light and died on the spot. The others were also blocked by the sword light. Whoosh! In the next moment, a figure appeared beside Mullins, with a sparkling long sword floating above his head. Kenfei Ryu. Lu Ming was dumbfounded once again. The person who appeared beside Mullins was a handsome young man with sword-like eyebrows. It was Kenfei Ryu, whom Lu Ming had not seen for many years. Back then, when Lu Ming was wandering in Nine Dragon City, Kenfei Ryu was severely injured by the geniuses of the Wang clan and the other clans, crippling his cultivation. Later, when he entered the blood pool, Kenfei Ryu was taken away by a mysterious person who seemed to be the remnant soul of a powerful expert. It had been many years since they parted. Lu Ming did not expect Kenfei Ryu to still be alive. Not only could he cultivate, but his cultivation had also reached an astonishing level. The few people he had killed earlier were all martial emperors. Treasure, another treasure. Dandin's eyes lit up as he looked at the long sword above Kenfei Ryu's head. Buzz! The long sword vibrated slightly and emitted a fluorescent light. A terrifying sword chi whizzed through the clouds. It was definitely a peerless sword. Most of the credit for Kenfei Ryu being able to block the attacks of so many experts was due to this sword. The others also stared at the long sword above Kenfei Ryu's head with fervent eyes. Brat, who are you? How dare you kill our people? People of the Heaven Realm cannot kill each other on the battlefield. You have committed a grave crime. Do you know that? Kneel down and surrender yourself. Blue Cloud shouted, I am not from the Two-World City. Kenfei Ryu said coldly. He continued, Moreover, you were the ones who attacked me without any explanation. Didn't you see that my friend was accepting the inheritance? You killed someone and still want to quibble? Take him down! Blue Cloud shouted. His eyes were abnormally fiery as he looked at the long sword above Kenfei Ryua's head and the small pagoda above Mulin's head. This was definitely a rare treasure left behind by an ancient expert. Wait a minute! At this moment, Lu Ming shouted. Everyone stopped, and Lu Ming appeared in a flash. It's you. What do you want? When Blue Cloud saw Lu Ming, a hint of killing intent flashed across his eyes. Previously, Lu Ming and Dandan had brought the evil god tribe to their place and caused them to suffer heavy losses. He had always been thinking about it. Dandan quickly set up the formation. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Dandan first. Dandan nodded and started to sneak around. With every step he took, countless runes entered the ground. Chapter 2209. Lu Ming's words caused many people's eyes to flicker. However, some people, such as Blue Cloud, Yanxi, and the others, were still burning with passion. What's too much? These treasures are obviously treasures left behind by peerless experts in ancient times. These two people are so young. How can they unleash the power of these treasures? I want to keep these treasures and hand them over to the experts of the Two-World City. Only in the hands of such experts can these treasures shine and be used to deal with the evil god tribe. Blue Cloud sneered and quibbled. What a joke! Since when did the experts of the Heaven Realm have to snatch the opportunities of the younger generation and use their treasures to deal with the evil god tribe? If that's the case, we will never be a match for the evil god tribe. Lu Ming replied with a sneer, full of mockery. This Blue Cloud was obviously greedy and wanted to snatch the treasures. However, he found such a dignified reason. What a joke! Hearing Lu Ming's words, some people looked ashamed and took a few steps back. They seemed to be hesitating whether they should attack or not. Mulin's and Kenfei Ryu were obviously from the human race. Attacking the human race and snatching their treasures in the ancient battlefield was obviously against the rules of the Two-World City. However, there were still some people that were clearly unreconciled. The greed in their eyes grew even stronger. Kid, no matter how glib your tongue is, it's useless. It's a waste to give such treasures to them. Today, I must take these treasures and give them to the experts of the Two-World City to use. Blue Cloud continued, not backing down at all. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. This Blue Cloud was really despicable and shameless. Blue Cloud, since you said so, then hand over all the treasures and resources on you. It's a waste to give them to trash like you. It's better to give them to the experts. Lu Ming sneered. What did you say? Blue Cloud's eyes flashed with killing intent. Lu Ming actually called him trash. I said you're a piece of trash, didn't you hear me? Hand over all your treasures and resources to me. It's a waste to give them to you anyway. Lu Ming added, Ha ha ha, what a joke. Does that mean you're very strong? Blue Cloud laughed loudly. He was a top genius of the Heaven Realm. Before he became an emperor, he was an Elysian's son. Lu Ming actually called him trash. Brat, you're the one who provoked me first. If I don't break your limbs today, my name isn't Blue Cloud. Blue Cloud bellowed. If it's not called Blue Cloud, then it's called Green Cloud. The top of its head is green. Lu Ming was talking nonsense with him, mainly to stall for time so that Dandan could set up the formation. At this moment, Dandan was silently shuttling through the crowd. One rune after another entered the ground. Brat, I'll cripple you. Blue Cloud was furious and pounced towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming displayed his 6 feathered divine wings. A pair of transparent wings appeared, and in a flash, he dodged Blue Cloud's attack. Swoosh! Swoosh! Blue Cloud launched a storm-like attack. However, Lu Ming displayed his 6 feathered divine wings, and his speed was too fast. He dodged all of Blue Cloud's attacks. Lu Ming didn't fight back. Naturally, he was stalling for time so that Dandan could set up the formation. In the blink of an eye, Blue Cloud launched hundreds of attacks, but he didn't touch Lu Ming at all. Many people were shocked. They didn't expect Lu Ming to be so powerful. Under blue clouds, storm-like attacks, he was completely fine. Didn't you say you're very strong? If you have the ability, fight me head-on. Blue Cloud roared. Lu Ming couldn't be bothered with him and continued to dodge with his movement technique. After dozens of moves, Blue Cloud still didn't touch Lu Ming at all. Blue Cloud, let me help you. At this moment, she flashed out and attacked Lu Ming. Blue Cloud and she were both 3-star illusionary emperors. Moreover, both of them were top geniuses of the Heaven Realm. They had mastered one of the strongest laws and had cultivated it to the second realm. In addition, they had also mastered other laws. Their strength was extremely shocking. The two of them worked together and attacked Lu Ming from 2 directions. It wouldn't be so easy for Lu Ming to dodge completely. Boom! Blue Cloud was behind Lu Ming and blasted out a palm. This palm was as fast as lightning and as swift as thunder. Its power was astonishing. At the same time, she also launched an attack. He slashed out layers of saber light, enveloping Lu Ming in 3 directions. In this way, Lu Ming had no way to dodge. Lu Ming, that's enough. At this moment, a voice entered Lu Ming's ears. It was Dandan's voice. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. Boom! At this moment, the aura on his body erupted. 7 types of laws shone with different lights and flickered on Lu Ming's body. A giant hammer appeared in Lu Ming's hand. This was his original divine ability, the Hammer of Chaos. Boom! 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 Lu Ming blasted out 4 times in a row, blasting in all directions. Immediately, Yan Shi's saber light that was slashing at Lu Ming shattered. His body shook violently and he retreated continuously. Boom! One of the hammers smashed into Lan Yun's palm, causing a huge boom to erupt. Blue Cloud's body also shook and he retreated continuously. It's you? The peerless trash of the primordial realm. You're Lu Ming. Blue Cloud roared. Lu Ming attacked with all his might, and 7 types of laws erupted. Blue Cloud immediately recognized Lu Ming. What? The peerless trash of the primordial realm? It's him. Many people at the scene reacted. Back then, when the prodigies who went to the primordial realm returned, they said that there was a peerless trash in the primordial realm. He had not become an emperor yet, but he had already mastered 2 types of supreme laws and many types of monarch laws. This matter had spread widely in the circle of prodigies in the Heaven Realm, and many people had heard of it. The one with the biggest reaction was Kenfei Ryu. His body shook, and he looked at Lu Ming with bright eyes. What shocked him was the name Lu Ming. Ha ha ha, it's me. Lu Ming laughed and revealed his true appearance. Seeing Lu Ming's true appearance, Kenfei Ryu's eyes suddenly lit up. He was a little shocked, a little surprised, and a little incredulous. He came to the Heaven Realm and became the disciple of a terrifying expert. His cultivation had improved by leaps and bounds over the years, and his standards were naturally much higher. He was far from what he was in the past. However, he did not expect that a friend he made in the eastern wilderness of the divine wilderness continent would come here. At the same time, his combat strength was also astonishing. This was really beyond his expectations. Brother Lu, let me help you. Kenfei Ryu shouted, and the long sword above his head buzzed continuously. No need, you protect senior Sister Mulin's. Lu Ming said, Lu Ming, you killed my Lan family's people. Today you will pay the price. Attack! There's no need to talk about rules with such a person. Blue Cloud roared and called for the other members of the Lan family to attack. Immediately, the true emperors of the Lan family moved. They erupted with a terrifying aura and suppressed Lu Ming. Shameless guy, watch me. At this moment, Dandan shouted and waved his hands. Dense runes appeared on the ground. Chapter 2210. Dandan made her move. She controlled the formation and condensed numerous chains, which shot toward the experts of the Lan and Yen families to bind them. The Void Emperors couldn't resist at all. They couldn't move no matter how hard they struggled. Blue Cloud and she were also tied up. It's you! Damn it! Blue Cloud roared, his eyes turning red when he recognized Dandan. They struggled madly, but it was useless. They were bound tightly by the chains. Boom! Boom! The true emperor from the Lan clan tried to break free, but a low-level true emperor couldn't do much. The chains tightened around him. You want to win by numbers, huh? Let's see how you're going to win by numbers. Lu Ming stepped into the air and walked toward Lan Yun and the rest. Lu Ming, you dare touch me? Blue Cloud roared. You're still so arrogant. What a fool! Lu Ming arrived above Blue Cloud's head and stomped on Blue Cloud's face. Bang! Blue Cloud's face was solidly stomped by Lu Ming, leaving a footprint on it. Ah! Blue Cloud roared in anger. Last time, Dandan stomped on his face, causing his teeth to fly out. Now that he had recovered, Lu Ming stomped on his face again. He had always been a proud son of the heavens since he was young. When had he ever suffered such humiliation? But in just a few days, his face had been stomped on repeatedly. He wanted to vomit blood. What are you shouting for? It's so King unpleasant. Lu Ming disdainfully stomped on Blue Cloud's face again. This stomp caused Blue Cloud's face to swell and his teeth to fly out. Blue Cloud immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Some of it came from his teeth falling out, while the other part came from anger. He was so angry that he vomited blood. Everyone, this person is lawless and has no regard for the law. Let's attack together and take him down. Blue Cloud roared, summoning the other people from the heaven realm. However, the others looked at each other and no one made a move. Lu Ming didn't kill anyone, and he didn't use too much force, so it wasn't considered a violation of the rules. Moreover, many of them were Blue Cloud's competitors. When they saw Blue Cloud being tortured, they couldn't be happier. Why would they stand up for him? At this moment, even Yen, she shut her mouth and behaved herself. She was afraid that Lu Ming would target her. You still dare to shout? Come again. Lu Ming stepped on Blue Cloud's face again. Roar! Blue Cloud howled. Unfortunately, his entire body was chained up and he could only stand there, unable to move at all. He could only passively be stepped on. Kill this brat! Hurry up and kill him! Blue Cloud roared. Boom! A 6-star true emperor from the Lan clan wasn't chained up. He was still resisting the chains. At this moment, the world energy in his body burned fiercely. The power of various laws rampaged and bombarded the chains. A 6-star true emperor was too strong. In order to break through to the true emperor realm, one had to have enough world energy and a stable minor world. But there were also requirements regarding laws. In order to break through, one needed to have 3 laws at the 2nd level. One could only imagine how terrifying a 6-star true emperor's laws would be. For a moment, Dandan's formation couldn't bind the opponent. It wasn't that Dandan's formation wasn't strong enough. If Dandan had an hour to set it up, not to mention a 6-star true emperor, even a peak true emperor would be trapped. However, he didn't have enough time. Blue Cloud's eyes lit up. Brat, you're finished. I'm going to cripple you and break all your limbs. Blue Cloud roared, hating Lu Ming to the bone. You talk too much. Lu Ming continued to stomp on Blue Cloud's face. Blue Cloud's face was about to explode. He didn't even recognize him anymore. Next, the fallen star bow appeared in Lu Ming's hand. He suddenly pulled on the fallen star bow, and a 7-colored arrow appeared. Buzz! Lu Ming loosened his grip, and the bowstring vibrated, causing eardrums to ring. The 7-colored arrow suddenly flew toward the 6-star true emperor from the Lan clan. At such a close distance, the fallen starbow's power was at its peak. However, the 6-star true emperor was too strong. He roared and released sound waves from his mouth. These sound waves contained the power of various laws and rushed toward the 7-colored arrow. The arrow was blocked. It vibrated continuously in midair, creating sound waves. But in the end, the arrow still shattered. Lock for me! Dandan shouted and waved his hands. Runes filled the air and more chains appeared. wrapping around the six-star true emperor from the Lan clan. In order to stop Lu Ming's arrow, the six-star true emperor diverted some of his power and was almost bound by Dandan's chains. Once again, Lu Ming pulled the bowstring. The surging saint power continuously surged into the bow. Whoosh! Another arrow aimed for the forehead of the six-star true emperor from the Lan clan. Lu Ming, I'll help you. On the other side, Kenfei Ryu shouted. He waved his hand, and the sword above his head vibrated. It turned into a sword ray and slashed at the six-star true emperor with frightening power. The six-star true emperor of the Lan family roared and tried his best to resist. He waved his arms continuously, vibrating a terrifying force to resist the chains around him, as well as Lu Ming's arrows and flying swords, sword gleams. Bang! Bang! An explosion sounded out as the arrow was destroyed. Jian Filiu's sword was also sent flying back to Jian Filiu's head. However, the six-star true emperor from the Lan clan was distracted by Lu Ming and Jian Filiu's attacks. Finally, Dandan seized the opportunity and chained the six-star true emperor from the Lan clan with countless chains. One chain, two chains, several chains coiled around the six-star true emperor from the Lan clan, slowing him down. Blue Cloud's heart sank. However, at this moment, streaks of purple and red light shot towards them from afar. It was the experts of the evil god tribe. Clearly, the experts of the evil god tribe were also attracted by the red light emitted from Mulan's body. Lu Ming's expression changed. Kenfei Ryu's expression changed as well. In the blink of an eye, the people from the evil god tribe arrived. They immediately saw Mulan, who was sitting cross-legged in the pool, and their eyes burned with a fiery light. Take the treasure. We can't let the people of the heaven world get it, one of the evil god tribe members said. Immediately, the evil god tribe members rushed toward Mulan's. Damn it! Lu Ming roared. He pulled the fallen star bow and shot several arrows. Bang! Bang! Several evil god tribe members were killed by Lu Ming in the air. At the same time, Kenfei Ryu controlled the sword above his head to slash at the evil god tribe members. However, there was a terrifying expert among the evil god tribe. He punched and sent Kenfei Ryu's sword flying. Kenfei Ryu's face turned pale, and he almost vomited blood. Chapter 22:11. Dandan also made a move, but he could not block it at all. Courting death. A member of the evil god race targeted Lu Ming and attacked Lu Ming. Ha ha ha. Serves you right. Blue Cloud laughed in his heart. Taking this opportunity, he began to struggle, wanting to break free from the shackles of the chains. Boom! The six-star true emperor of the Lan family finally broke free and came to Blue Cloud's side to protect him. Attack together and kill the evil god race. The treasure must not be obtained by the evil god race. Dandan shouted, instigating the others to attack. Many people looked at each other and made a move. They had no choice but to face the evil god race. They were their common enemy. No matter who got the treasure, they could not let it fall into the hands of the evil god race. However, the people of the heaven world were too late. There were already experts of the evil god race approaching Mulan's. Kenfei Ryu was alone beside Mulan's. He could not stop the other party at all. It seems that I can only use the Celestial Emperor's physical body. Lu Ming thought, just as he was about to use the Celestial Emperor's physical body. A layer of light suddenly spread out from the cave behind Mulan's and Kenfei Ryu, blocking in front of Mulan's and Kenfei Ryu. Boom! The experts of the evil god race rushed over and bombarded the light with terrifying attacks. However, the light did not move at all. Not even a ripple was produced. Master! Kenfei Ryu was overjoyed. Then, a figure walked out of the cave. It was an old man with a head of white hair. He wore a gray robe and had a cold expression. Others could not sense a trace of aura from him, nor did they know his cultivation level. He was like an ordinary person. However, when his gaze swept over, everyone's hair stood on end. There was a great sense of horror. Not good, let's go. A high-level true emperor of the evil god race revealed a look of horror. He roared and frantically retreated. Evil god race, kill! The gray-robed old man said coldly. The moment he spoke, many long swords automatically appeared in the air, shooting out rapidly. All the members of the evil god tribe were pierced through their foreheads. It didn't matter whether they were true emperors or void emperors, unable to withstand a single blow. In an instant, all the members of the evil god tribe, over 100 of them, died. Hiss! On the heaven realm side, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. This old man was definitely a terrifying expert, at the very least a grand emperor. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to kill a high-level true emperor so easily. However, how did a great emperor realm expert come here? Could it be that the other party had been living here all along? However, one thing was certain, the other party was from the heaven realm. They were friends and not enemies. So it's this guy. He's actually still alive. Dandan came to Lu Ming's side and whispered, "You know him?" Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Bubble. "Yes, we met once in the past. However, he's just a junior. When you see me, you have to respectfully call me senior." Dandan transmitted his voice to Lu Ming and began to boast again. However, Lu Ming was still very shocked. It was obvious that this was an expert from the same era as Dandan. He was an expert from the ancient era and had lived until now. Obviously, after the battle back then, he didn't die. "Master." Kenfei Ryu bowed respectfully to the old man. The gray-robed old man nodded. Then he swept his gaze across the people from the heaven realm and said in a cold voice, "Leave this place. This is my place of cultivation." "Yes, senior." Some people cupped their fists and didn't dare to say anything. They bowed to the old man and turned to leave. "Master, the two of them are my friends." Kenfei Ryu pointed to Lu Ming and Dandan. "They can stay." The gray-robed old man glanced at Dandan and Lu Ming, especially Dandan. "Senior, can you let me take them away?" Blue Cloud asked. He had broken free from the chains with the help of his subordinates. He knew that he couldn't get the treasure, but he didn't want to let go of Lu Ming and Dandan. He wanted to take Lu Ming and Dandan away. "Scram!" The gray-robed old man only replied with one word. "Senior, this junior is the successor of the Lan clan. Please give me some face." Blue Cloud cupped his fists. "Scram!" This time, the old man's voice was even colder. A powerful force erupted along with the word "scram" and rushed toward Blue Cloud's group. The faces of Lan Yun and the rest changed drastically. Their bodies flew out and fell to the ground, each of them vomiting blood. Even a 6-star true emperor couldn't resist at all. "Young master, go, go!" The 6-star true emperor, Lan Yun, and the group left in a sorry state, disappearing in the blink of an eye. "Ha ha ha, evil swordsman, long time no see. I didn't expect you to still be alive." After the people from the heaven realm left, Dandan laughed and walked over to greet the gray-robed elder. Jian Filio was dumbfounded as he watched. The gray-robed old man coldly glanced at Dandan. "So it's you, the coward. Good people don't live long while scourges live for 1,000 years. Hey you, how can you say that?" Dandan glared at the gray-robed old man. The gray-robed old man ignored Dandan and flashed into the cave. "Ha ha ha!" Lu Ming laughed. "Brat, what are you laughing about?" Dandan glared at Lu Ming. He was just bragging that the gray-robed old man was his junior. Now, he was being treated like this by the old man. "Sigh, people's hearts are not what they used to be. Look at how weak I am now, and this attitude is so pitiful." Dandan sighed. "Lu Ming, long time no see." Kenfei Ryu came over and greeted Lu Ming. "Indeed, it's been more than 10 years, almost 20 years. Lu Ming lamented that time had passed too quickly. It had been so long since they last met. Fortunately, Kenfei Ryu was fine and his cultivation had skyrocketed. It was truly hard to predict. "Senior, you are..." Genfei looked at Dandan with a respectful look on his face. Since Dandan knew his master, he naturally treated Dandan as a senior expert. "I'm the invincible!" Dandan put his hands behind his back and began to brag. Lu Ming immediately interrupted him. "He's just a scammer who brags all day. Ignore him." "What? Lu Ming, what did you say?" Dandan was unhappy. He gritted his teeth and looked at Lu Ming. "By the way, Brother Jian, what happened to you back then? Also, why is Senior Sister Mullins here? What's her situation now?" Lu Ming asked several questions in a row. He was indeed full of questions. "Mullins is your senior sister?" Kenfei Ryu was surprised. "That's right. She is my senior sister. Previously, there was an anomaly in the divine wilderness, and a passageway appeared. 6 years ago, Senior Sister Mulan stepped into that passageway and never returned. Not long ago, I also stepped into that passageway and came here." Chapter 2212. Lu Ming gave a brief account of how he came to this place. Jian Filiu also gave a brief account of his experience. Back then, Kenfei Ryu's cultivation was crippled and he was on the verge of death. After entering the blood pool, he was taken away by a mysterious person. That mysterious person was his master, the gray-robed elder from before, the evil swordmaster that Dandan had mentioned. According to Kenfei Ryu, at that time, the passageway to Nine Dragon City in the Divine Wilderness had already cracked open. Evil Swordmaster brought Kenfei Ryu from the blood pool to cleanse his meridians and cleanse his marrows. Then he cultivated Evil Swordmaster's unique way of the sword. Evil Swordmaster's unique way of the sword was very special. Back then, when Kenfei Ryu's cultivation was crippled, he happened to be compatible with Evil Swordmaster's unique way of the sword. All these years he had been cultivating with Evil Swordmaster. His cultivation had improved rapidly, and he was now a 2-star empty emperor. Lu Ming nodded. Evil Swordmaster was definitely a very powerful existence. In the ancient past, he knew Dandan. Furthermore, he was able to participate in the great battle back then and survive in the end. Under the tutelage of such an expert and in such a good cultivation environment like the Heaven Realm, it was normal for Jian Filiu to improve rapidly. "Senior Sister Mulan, what's wrong with her?" Lu Ming looked at Mullins again. 6 years ago, Master saved Mullins at the passageway. Moreover, Miss Mullins coincidentally resonated with the inheritance of a friend of Master's and inherited that senior's inheritance. In the blink of an eye, 5 years have passed. Kenfei Ryu said, 5 years? You're saying that Senior Mullins has been like this for 5 years? Lu Ming asked. That's right. According to Master's prediction, Miss Mullins should be waking up soon. Kenfei Ryu said. Lu Ming nodded. He was going to stay here and wait for Mullins to wake up. After that, Lu Ming and Dandan stayed here. Time passed day by day. The Taiching Heavenly Domain and Hanyuan Heavenly Domain were neighbors, and the passage between the two heavenly domains had long been turned into a battlefield. The two heavenly domains had fought for many years, and countless bones had been buried. On one side of the battlefield was the Taiching Domain. Two World City was there, blocking the entrance to the Taiching Domain. On the other side of the battlefield was the territory occupied by the evil god tribe. There were many strange and sinister-looking buildings here, and countless experts of the evil god tribe were gathered here. In one of the buildings, a group of people from the evil god race were having a discussion. Among these members of the evil god tribe, most of them were covered in purple scales. Only a few of them were covered in black scales. All of them had extremely terrifying auras. They were all terrifying experts. The most shocking thing was that there was a member of the evil god race at the very top. This member of the evil god race had a body that was no different from an ordinary person. He was slightly taller than a human, about 2 meters tall. There were no scales on his body, but there was a third eye at the center of his brows. His head was full of purple hair, and he was extremely eye-catching. This was the royal member of the evil god race. The ancestor has sent another message. That passage isn't completely sealed, and there's still hope of breaking it open. So this time, no matter what, we must break open that passage. Once we have that passage, our army can directly reach the Yuan realm, and then through the Yuan realm, enter the Taiching domain and destroy the 2 heavenly domains in one fell swoop. All of you, send people to kill their way into that battlefield. The royal member of the evil god race gave the order. Yes, at all costs. The numerous members of the evil god race received the order. Soon, figure after figure flew into the battlefield, flying towards the ancient battlefield where Lu Ming and the others were. Among these people, there was no lack of emperor realm figures. Heavenly emperors didn't dare to enter, because once they did, they would attract the attention of all the experts' imprints, and they would be hunted down by all the experts' imprints. They wouldn't rest until they were dead. Unless one's cultivation reached a certain level and wasn't weaker than those peerless experts of the past, they wouldn't need to fear those imprints, such as the few ancestors of the evil god race. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. During this period, Lu Ming cultivated while waiting for Mulins to wake up. On this day, Lu Ming was cultivating. Suddenly, there was a flash of light in the cave, and a figure appeared. It was Evil Swordsman. In this half a month, Evil Swordsman hadn't appeared. According to Kenfei Ryu, his master had been severely injured in the ancient war, and it was lucky that he hadn't died. His cultivation and combat strength were no longer the same as before, and he had been in seclusion to heal his injuries. Why had he suddenly appeared now? Evil Swordsman looked up at the sky, seeming to have a lot on his mind. After a long while, he sighed. It seems that the passage hasn't completely collapsed, and it hasn't been completely sealed. It can still be opened. Passage. When Lu Ming heard that, he couldn't help but worry. He asked, Senior, the passage you're talking about, is it the one that leads to the Yuan realm? That's right, little guy. You must have come here from the Yuan realm through that passage. Evil Swordsman said. That's right, Senior. Could it be that the evil god tribe wants to enter the Yuan realm through that passage? Immediately, Lu Ming was worried, and his heart was in his throat. If the evil god tribe entered the Yuan realm through that passage, then the divine wilderness continent would be finished. It's not that easy. Look. Evil Swordsman waved his hand, and an image immediately appeared in midair. Figures shuttled through the air, and they were all from the evil god tribe. Suddenly, light filled the air and a figure appeared. It was the mark of a peerless expert. Kill! When the mark of a peerless expert appeared, his killing intent surged. He held a long spear in his hand, and it pierced through the void, instantly killing 7 or 8 evil god tribe members. Then, the long spear swept through again, and a terrifying figure exploded in the air. That's a great emperor-level evil god tribe member. Lu Ming was shocked. The last evil god tribe member that was blown up was definitely a great emperor-level existence, but he still couldn't block the attack of the expert's mark. Spread out. The members of the evil god race howled as they fled in all directions. That supreme expert's imprint continued to pierce out with its spear, killing a few more evil god race experts. However, the other members of the evil god race all fled. This is just a corner. This time, many experts from the evil god tribe have entered, and there is no lack of great emperor-level figures. Their goal is that passage. Look again. Then, Evil Swordsman waved his hand again, and the image changed again. On the image, a void appeared. That void was extremely unstable, and cracks in space would appear from time to time. They would disappear in a flash, and it was very sinister and terrifying. Not far from that void, there were many figures standing in the air, and all of them were experts from the evil god tribe. Some of the evil god tribe members were bombarding that unstable void, and some of them were setting up a large array in the surroundings. Could this be the entrance of the passage from before? Lu Ming guessed. That's right. This is the entrance of the passage. A shocking battle happened there previously, and the passage exploded and collapsed. However, it wasn't completely sealed, and there is still hope of opening it. Evil Swordsman said, "Senior, what exactly is going on? Why is there a passage here?" Chapter 22:13. Lu Ming was full of doubts. Why was there a passageway that led to the divine region? Why was the divine region guarded by the 9-dragon cauldron and the 9-dragon veins? Why did the 9-dragon cauldron fly away previously? Lu Ming asked all these questions. Evil Sword Master pondered for a moment before saying, "That passageway was naturally formed when the two worlds of the Tian Yuan realm first opened." Naturally formed? Lu Ming muttered. "That's right. This kind of naturally formed passageway is completely different from man-made ones. It's very difficult to seal a naturally formed passageway. Even if it's sealed, it will slowly open on its own with the passage of time. It's like forcibly tearing a crack or opening a passageway in space. The space will quickly heal and repair itself. Naturally formed passageways are the opposite. If you want to seal or seal it, it will naturally open and return to its original state." Evil Sword Master explained. Lu Ming understood now. Naturally formed passageways were naturally formed and would always be fixed, just like any piece of space. You had the ability to tear any piece of space, but that piece of space would quickly recover. Naturally formed passageways were the same. If you sealed them, they would naturally open up. That passageway leads to the Yuan realm. Therefore, in ancient times, it became an important place for the evil god tribe to attack. That's why there was a great war here, and many peerless experts died in battle. Later on, one of the top 10 battle beasts, the 9-dragon, entered the Yuan realm and sealed the other end of the passageway. In the heaven domain, there were also experts who sealed the passageway here. However, that passageway was naturally formed. No matter how it was sealed, it would slowly recover. Even if the person who sealed it was a rare peerless expert, it couldn't be sealed forever. After so many years, the seal finally couldn't completely seal the passageway. The passageway is slowly opening up. Evil Sword Master's words enlightened Lu Ming. Many things that he couldn't figure out in the past suddenly made sense. He finally understood what the 9-dragon cauldron and the 9-dragon veins were for. They were used by the 9-dragon to seal the passageway. He used to think that the divine 9-dragon cauldron just happened to have the same name as the 9 dragons. Now, it seemed that it was a treasure of the 9 dragons. More than 10 years ago, the passageway was slowly restored and could no longer be sealed. Therefore, the divine wilderness continent and the heavenly realm were connected, causing the origin chi to become denser. As for the reason why the divine 9 dragon cauldrons flew to the heavenly realm separately, it was probably because they wanted to stall for time. When the divine 9 dragon cauldrons arrived at the heavenly realm, they wanted to stop their auras from spreading and let the evil god race detect them. As expected, Evil Sword Artist continued. Some time ago, the evil god tribe finally discovered the abnormality of this passage. The evil god tribe sent out a few terrifying experts, wanting to take over the passage completely. They fought a huge battle with the experts guarding the passage. In the end, the experts guarding the passage and the treasures left behind by the 9 dragons wanted to destroy the passage. Now, it seems like it wasn't completely destroyed. "Senior, can that tunnel be completely destroyed?" Lu Ming asked in surprise. "No. It can only be destroyed temporarily. After a period of time, it will automatically recover. Otherwise, there would be no need to go through so much trouble to seal it back then." Evil Sword Artist shook his head and sighed. "Then what should we do now?" Lu Ming was really anxious. This involved the safety of his parents, relatives, and friends. It was difficult for him to remain calm. This passage must not be taken over by the evil god tribe. Otherwise, everyone's efforts over the years will be in vain. Evil Sword Artist said. His voice was cold and filled with cold, killing intent. "Senior, we can pass the news to the Two-World City. The Two-World City will not sit by and do nothing." Lu Ming suggested. This not only concerned the primordial realm, but also the heavenly realm. Once the evil god tribe entered the primordial realm and entered the grand pure sky domain through the passageway, the heavenly realm would be completely finished. Those guys who came in previously all came from the two-world city. Pass the news to them, and let them pass the news to the people in the two-world city. Evil Sword Artist nodded. Buzz. At this moment, a buzzing sound was heard. Mullins, who had been silent all this while, finally moved. The small pagoda above her head emitted a bright light. The blood in the blood pool wriggled and seeped into Mullins's body. Soon, the blood in the blood pool disappeared without a trace. A powerful aura emanated from Mullins's body. Quasi-Emperor. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Mullins's cultivation was at the Quasi-Emperor realm. The inheritance that she had received was definitely left behind by an extremely powerful existence. It was not as simple as a simple inheritance. Otherwise, Mullins would not have reached the Quasi-Emperor realm in just 5 to 6 years. This little girl is actually so compatible with that guy's inheritance. It's rare. Evil Sword Artist muttered. Dandin was envious. Buzz. The small, blood-colored pagoda vibrated slightly and then shrank rapidly. It flew into Mullins's forehead and disappeared. Mullins slowly opened her eyes. A blood-red light flashed in her eyes and then disappeared. Her gaze swept across Lu Ming and the others. When her gaze fell on Lu Ming, her delicate body could not help but tremble. She was in disbelief. Am I hallucinating again? Mullins muttered. Her beautiful big eyes blinked hard a few times to confirm. Lu Ming smiled and said, Senior Sister Mullins, long time no see. Why, don't you recognize me? Lu Ming, Mullins whispered. She was pleasantly surprised and flew out of the small pool. Still in disbelief, she said, Junior brother Lu Ming, why are you here? Of course, I was worried about you and missed you. So I followed that passage to find you. The one who spoke was not Lu Ming, but Dandin. Lu Ming touched his nose and was speechless. Mullins blushed. You two little guys, stop flirting. It's time to get down to business, Evil Swordsman said. Mullins blushed even more. However, her cultivation had increased tremendously, and she had reached the Emperor-to-be realm. Furthermore, she had obtained the inheritance of a peerless expert. Her confidence had increased greatly, and her original personality was completely revealed. She came to Lu Ming's side and stared at Lu Ming without blinking. She did not seem to want to look away. Hey, you're so mushy, Dandin cried out. Junior brother, what happened? Mullins ignored Dandin and asked Lu Ming. Lu Ming explained the passage briefly. After hearing it, Mullins's face turned pale. She understood the seriousness of the matter. Furthermore, her family was in the divine region. I'm going to the passage immediately. When the time comes, you guys will be in danger if you stay here. You guys should enter my small world first, Evil Swordsman said. Senior, I'll stay outside. I might be able to help, Lu Ming said. No matter what, he still had the physical body of the Heavenly Emperor. It might be useful at a critical moment. I'll stay outside too. Chapter 22:14. All right, the two of you enter the small world. Evil Sword Master waved his hand and sent Kenfei, Ryu, and Mullins into the small world. Then, a wave of energy swept up Lu Ming and Dandin. In a flash, they appeared outside the castle. Then, Evil Sword Master brought Lu Ming and the rest to find Lu Hao and the rest. Lu Ming realized that when Evil Sword Master walked in this area, the seals of the top experts did not attack him. Lu Ming guessed that perhaps Evil Sword Master's cultivation level was high enough, or perhaps he had some secret technique that allowed him to avoid the attacks of the seals. When they saw Evil Sword Master, Lu Hao and the rest were shocked and bowed respectfully. Lu Ming immediately told them about the passageway. What? Lu Hao and the rest were shocked when they heard it. They knew that this was a huge matter that concerned the fate of the Heaven region. Let's leave this place immediately and inform the seniors in Two World City. Lu Hao and the rest agreed. They did not dare to delay and rushed out of the battlefield. Evil Sword Master brought Lu Ming and Dandan towards the passageway. Not long after, they approached the passageway and hid in the sky, watching from afar. There were many members of the evil god race circling around the void, moving around continuously. Beams of light shot into the void one after another. There were also members of the evil god tribe who formed huge hands and wanted to tear the void apart to reopen the passageway. The evil god tribe is setting up an array. They want to use the power of the array to reopen the passageway. Evil Sword Master transmitted his voice to Lu Ming and Dandan. Senior, what should we do? Lu Ming also transmitted his voice. When the experts from 2 World City arrive, we'll kill them. There's no other way now. However, the Heavenly Emperors will not dare to come. At most, they will be peak Great Emperors. Although I have not recovered from my injuries, I'm still confident in dealing with Great Emperors. Evil Sword Master said as a cold light flashed in his eyes. Hearing this, Lu Ming's heart calmed down. Next, they waited quietly. A day later, he's here. Evil Sword Guest suddenly said. In the distance, a few figures flashed over. They were very secretive. If not for Evil Sword Guest's warning, Lu Ming and the rest would not have noticed them. Evil Sword Master's lips moved slightly as if he was sending a telepathic message. In the next moment, those figures headed towards Lu Ming and the rest. There were a total of 3 people, 2 old men and 1 middle-aged man. Their bodies were bathed in blood, and it was clear that they had gone through a great battle. Although the 3 of them had completely restrained their auras, Lu Ming could still feel that these 3 people were absolutely terrifying experts. Senior. When the 3 of them arrived, they cupped their fists at Evil Swordmaster. Why is it only the 3 of you? Why didn't the others come for such a big event? Evil Sword Master frowned. Sigh, the others can't come. An elder sighed. His hair was disheveled, and his entire body was covered in blood. It was clear that he had experienced a bitter battle. What happened? Evil Sword Master asked. Lu Ming and Dandan's hearts were in their mouths. They had a bad premonition. A day ago, the evil god tribe suddenly sent out a large army to attack 2 World City. They surrounded the outside of 2 World City. Now, there's still a bitter battle in 2 World City. Most of the experts are pinned down. Originally, there were more than 10 of us. We broke out of the encirclement and wanted to stop the evil god tribe from opening the passageway. However, there was a battle on the way. When we entered this battlefield, we were attacked by the expert seals. Out of the 10 of us, only the 3 of us made it here. After the elder finished speaking, he let out a long sigh. The 10 of them who broke out of the encirclement were all experts. Unfortunately, in order to come here, they had lost so many people. It was definitely a huge loss. However, in order to stop the evil god tribe, they had no choice. In order to open the passageway, the evil god tribe had sent a large number of experts here. Their losses were definitely shocking. It seems that the evil god tribe is well prepared. They are afraid that the experts of 2 World City will discover them and come to stop them. Evil Sword Master's gaze was even colder. Now we have no choice but to kill our way in. At this moment, the passageway in front of them shone brightly. The evil god tribe seemed to have set up a large array and started to activate it. Endless light condensed into something that looked like a huge spiral drill. It faced the void and seemed to be drilling a new passageway at the original location of the passageway. Rumble. The space trembled and collapsed continuously, revealing a pitch-black cave. There's no time to lose. Attack. The 2 of you stay here. Evil Sword Master glanced at Lu Ming and Dandan. In a flash, he charged toward the experts of the evil god tribe. Evil Sword Master's speed was shocking. In a few flashes, he was close to the evil god tribe. Enemy attack. There were too many experts of the evil god tribe. The moment Evil Sword Master got close, the other party discovered him. Someone shouted, "Swoosh!" Evil Sword Master attacked. A long sword appeared in his hand. With a slash, sword light shook the sky. A powerful evil god tribe member was directly split into two, and his soul was obliterated. So strong. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. That evil god tribe member was definitely a great emperor, but he was instantly killed by evil sword master. Although evil sword master had yet to recover from his injuries, his combat strength was still terrifying. This guy was many times stronger than he is now when he was at his peak. In the heaven domain, he's a peerless expert. Of course, compared to me, there's still a gap, Dandin said, not forgetting to boast. Kill! Evil sword master shouted. A terrifying aura exploded, and the heavens and earth were filled with an indescribable pressure. Evil sword master wore a gray robe and looked very old. However, when he attacked, he had a domineering aura. Evil chi surged from his body, and his sword light seemed to split the heavens and earth. Poof! Poof! Several experts of the evil god tribe were killed by evil sword master. Break! Evil sword master shouted. A sword light slashed above the void. The void was directly split open, and countless runes appeared there. Then those runes exploded. This was the array that the evil god tribe had set up. Evil sword master had cut a section of it. At the same time, the drill that was condensed by the array exploded with a bang and disappeared from the place. Kill him! The experts of the evil god tribe shouted. Their auras exploded, shaking the heavens and earth. So many great emperors. Lu Ming was shocked. There were too many great emperors in the evil god tribe. Most of them were extremely terrifying. Their auras were far stronger than the Hung family great emperor and great emperor Wuxiang that Lu Ming had met before. Many of them were definitely high-level great emperors. Some were even peak great emperors. With so many great emperors joining forces, it was too terrifying. However, evil sword master was even stronger. With a metal sword in his hand, he charged into the evil god tribe. With a slash of his sword, an expert was killed. With a slash of his sword, blood splattered everywhere. The three experts from Two World City also made their move. Chapter 2215. The three from Two World City are all peak great emperors. However, there are many peak great emperors in the evil god tribe. They can only hold back a portion of the forces and won't be of much use. Evil swordsman is the key. Dandin sent a message to Lu Ming. Although his cultivation was not as strong as it was in the ancient era, he was still able to judge one's cultivation based on their aura. Surround and kill them! The experts from the evil god tribe roared. There were at least 4 or 5 of them who were as strong as the 3 from Two World City. They surrounded evil swordsmen. According to Dandin, they were all peak great emperors. Evil swordsman's evil aura became denser as he fought with his opponents. Poof! After a few slashes, one of the peak great emperors was killed by evil swordsman. Although evil swordsman had not recovered from his injuries, his fighting strength was still terrifying. Kill! Evil swordsman roared as his sword light soared into the sky. The sword light was thousands of miles long and extremely terrifying. As he slashed out, the void shattered. Many of the weaker evil god tribe members were swept into the sword light and turned into ashes. Heavenly Emperor. It's the Heavenly Emperor. How can the Heavenly Emperor come here? Many of the evil god tribe members roared in anger and disbelief. Too many peerless experts had died in the past in this region and left behind their imprints. Once they sensed a powerful expert, those imprints would appear and kill the enemy, especially the Heavenly Emperor. Once he came to this region, the imprints of the experts would sense it, and they would even leave their original location to attack and kill the Heavenly Emperor. In the past, there were Heavenly Emperors who had come here, but they had all died. Of course, the terrifying Heavenly Emperors were an exception. Their strength was not weaker than those peerless experts when they were alive. With such strength, they were not afraid even when those experts were alive. Why would they be afraid when they were dead? However, evil swordsman's fighting strength was not that of a peerless expert. He was only an ordinary Heavenly Emperor. How could he come here? Swoosh, swoosh. Evil swordsman slashed out continuously. Every time he slashed out, an evil god tribe member would die under his sword. At the same time, the void shattered and the array set up by the evil god tribe was destroyed. Heavenly Emperor weapons. Someone from the evil god tribe shouted. Whong, whong. Several terrifying waves of energy spread out in succession. Then a huge axe, a huge mountain, and a saber appeared in the sky. This was a celestial emperor weapon, a weapon controlled by the celestial emperor. Celestial emperors themselves could not enter, but celestial emperors could bring their weapons in. When the celestial great imperial weapons didn't awaken, those imprints couldn't be sensed. Besides, they were inanimate objects, so those imprints wouldn't have any reaction. Boom, boom, boom. The three celestial emperor weapons were awakened and emitted a terrifying energy fluctuation. The energy of the heavenly way shot towards evil swordsmen. If the celestial emperor armament is not controlled by the celestial emperor, how much power can it unleash? I'll show you the true power of a celestial Dharch weapon. Evil sword artist said coldly. The long sword in his hand let out a terrifying sword whistle. Clang! Sword cries filled the sky as several terrifying sword radiances shot out from evil sword master's hands. Dong! 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 3 terrifying collisions rang out. The 3 heavenly emperor armaments of the evil god race trembled violently and were sent flying. The 3 evil god race experts controlling the heavenly emperor armaments coughed up large mouthfuls of blood. Their bodies cracked, and in the end they directly exploded. Without a doubt, the long sword in evil sword artist's hand was also a celestial emperor weapon. Under his control, it was extremely powerful. You're courting death. At this moment, a roar could be heard from afar. An extremely terrifying aura was rushing towards them. Then, a huge demonic shadow appeared between heaven and earth. The demonic shadow was extremely huge, like a mountain. It stood between heaven and earth and was heading towards them. Old ancestor. The evil god tribe members were overjoyed. This is Lu Ming's eyes narrowed and he looked extremely solemn. When he had passed through the passage from the primordial realm, he had seen 4 huge demonic shadows fighting against the 9 divine 9-dragon cauldrons. This demonic shadow was extremely similar to one of the previous 4. Boom! The demonic shadow moved. It punched out and the void shattered. The huge fist was wrapped in void turbulence and headed towards evil sword artist. At this moment, evil sword artist's eyes were extremely solemn. The long sword in his hand vibrated continuously, and his aura became stronger. Swoosh! In the end, evil sword artist slashed out with his sword. A shocking sword light slashed towards the huge fist. When the sword light and the fist collided, there was an ear-piercing sound. Although they were still far away, Lu Ming felt a piercing pain in his eardrums. The blood in his body was boiling, and he felt like his body was about to explode. Dandan also used his strength to resist. He was slightly better off than Lu Ming. Bam! Then, evil sword artist's sword light shattered. The remaining strength of the fist blasted towards evil sword artist, causing him to retreat frantically. Not good. Senior evil sword artist is no match for him. Lu Ming's face turned ugly. That's the old ancestor of the evil god tribe. He's an unparalleled elite. However, he should be injured. His combat strength is far from his peak. Dandan said. Lu Ming knew that the old ancestor of the evil god tribe must have been injured when he fought with the divine 9-dragon cauldron and the huge true dragon in the sky. An ancient antique from the primordial era. Today, I'll send you on your way. The old ancestor of the evil god tribe spoke. His voice rumbled in the sky. His body started to shrink, and he became more than 3 meters tall. His speed increased greatly, and he instantly closed in on evil sword artist. This was also a member of the evil god tribe with purple scales. He wasn't a member of the royal family, but a member of the evil god tribe. However, His cultivation had already reached a terrifying realm. His palm was like a knife as he slashed out a few times towards Evil Sword Artist. Evil Sword Artist fought with him, but he was no match for him. After a few moves, Evil Sword Artist trembled violently and was sent flying far away. A trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Although the old ancestor of the Evil God tribe was also injured, his injuries were far less severe than Evil Sword Artist's. In the primordial era, Evil Sword Artist had almost died in battle. He was only left with a wisp of his soul. After so many years, he still hadn't recovered. His combat strength was too far from his peak. Kill! The old ancestor of the Evil God tribe had the upper hand, and his attacks were even more violent. "You're just a junior. I'll fight with you." Blood flowed from Evil Sword Artist's mouth, but his eyes were exceptionally bright. At this moment, a layer of light shone on his body, burning fiercely like a flame. At the same time, Evil Sword Artist's aura surged wildly. "Evil Sword Artist is going to go all out," Dandin said as he watched with rapt attention. Clang! Evil Sword Artist slashed out with his sword. A sword light that was several times more terrifying than before slashed towards the old ancestor of the Evil God tribe. The old ancestor of the Evil God tribe had a serious look on his face. A battle axe appeared in his hand, and he charged towards Evil Sword Artist. Clang! Clang! The two experts let out a terrifying explosion as they fought fiercely. For a moment, it was difficult to determine the victor. The two of them charged into the sky and fought. Chapter 22:16. The intense battle continued, but the situation was getting worse for the heavenly domain. They had too few people. "Dandin, can we only watch? Is there any way we can help?" Lu Ming asked anxiously. Although he had the Heavenly Emperor's body, it only had about 10% of its energy. However, there were a lot of great emperors in the Evil God tribe, and there was no lack of peak great emperors. In such a battle, the Heavenly Emperor's body was not very useful. He was afraid that if he controlled the Heavenly Emperor's body, its energy would be exhausted in a few moves. At that time, he could only wait for death. "Our cultivation is too far away from theirs. We can't help at all." Dandin was also a little anxious. No matter how knowledgeable, resourceful, and crafty he was at his wits' end. "Oh, right." Suddenly, Lu Ming thought of something. His eyes lit up and he said, "Where is the divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron? If there is the divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron, we might be able to help." Lu Ming had refined 9 drops of Nine-Dragon blood essence and could control the divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron. As long as he could find the divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron, with Lu Ming's current cultivation, once he controlled it, its power would definitely be amazing. Dandin's eyes also lit up and he said, "Let's look around nearby." Immediately, the two of them restrained their auras and avoided the battlefield, searching nearby. Lu Ming's mind was highly focused as he sensed carefully. However, they did not dare to get close to the battlefield and could only search in the surrounding area. After searching for more than half a circle, they did not find anything. The two of them were not discouraged and continued to search. When the two of them came to the back of the passageway, Lu Ming suddenly felt something. He felt that the blood in his body was a little hot, and his circulation was changing faster. There is really a feeling. Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he looked around. It was a messy pile of rocks, piled up everywhere in a mess. These rocks are not natural. They were shattered. Could it be that the divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron was underground, blasted into the ground? Dandin guessed. The two of them rushed into the pile of rocks. Lu Ming's feeling became stronger and stronger. "Let me." Dandin's entire body glowed as it transformed into its original form, a gigantic tortoise. "I'll dig." The giant tortoise began to dig at the ground with its 4 limbs. Immediately, gravel flew everywhere, and a large area of soil was lifted up. Not long after, a piece of metal was exposed. "It's really the divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron." Lu Ming was overjoyed. This piece of metal was the material of the divine nine-dragon cauldron. Lu Ming wouldn't be mistaken. Dandan also became excited and began to dig crazily. He used the power of laws, causing large amounts of soil to tremble and be sent flying. Lu Ming also helped. He converted the law of primal chaos into the law of earth to help excavate. Large chunks of soil loosened and flew out automatically. A divine nine-dragon cauldron appeared, followed by a second, a third soon. 9 mountain-sized nine-dragon cauldrons appeared in their vision. The 9 dragon veins are gone. No, they are on top of the dragon cauldron. Lu Ming looked around and found something different about the divine nine-dragon cauldron. The divine nine-dragon cauldron originally had a true dragon pattern engraved on it, but now there was an additional pattern on it. This pattern was very similar to the dragon veins, vivid and lifelike. However, the divine nine-dragon cauldron didn't seem to have any energy fluctuations. It was like a piece of scrap metal. Lu Ming hugged a divine nine-dragon cauldron, but there was no reaction from it at all. What's going on? Why is there no reaction? Lu Ming was puzzled. It should be that its energy has been exhausted. Even the energy of the dragon veins has been exhausted, Dandan said, frowning and deep in thought. One could imagine that the previous battle was definitely tragic. Even the energy of the divine nine-dragon cauldron and the 9 dragon veins had been exhausted. However, the results of the battle were also shocking. The passage was destroyed, and the evil god tribe's patriarch was seriously injured. Lu Ming, you have refined the blood essence of the 9 dragons. Try it with your blood, Dandan suddenly said. All right, Lu Ming nodded. Blood seeped out of his palm on its own. Lu Ming's figure flashed, and his palm continuously smacked the divine nine-dragon cauldron, leaving a bloody handprint on each of the 9 cauldrons. Awaken, Lu Ming roared. The muscles on his body bulged, and all the blood energy in his body started to circulate crazily. Roar! A dragon roar came from Lu Ming's body, reverberating through the sky. This was the sound of the 9 dragons. There's someone over there. The dragon roar traveled very far and finally alarmed the evil god tribe. A few ants. I'll go and kill him. An evil god tribe member walked toward Lu Ming's side at an astonishing speed. This was a Dharch evil god tribe member. Lu Ming, hurry up. Dandan was anxious. Awaken, Lu Ming roared. His blood energy surged and dragon roars rang out. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The divine nine-dragon cauldron finally reacted. The bloody handprint that Lu Ming left on the cauldron glowed and was then absorbed by the divine nine-dragon cauldron. The divine nine-dragon cauldron started to vibrate, and its aura became stronger and stronger. The divine nine-dragon cauldron started to awaken. Awaken! Lu Ming continued to roar. Above his head, the phantom of 9 dragons appeared, causing the divine nine-dragon cauldron to vibrate even more violently. At this moment, the evil god, Tribe's Tharch, had already arrived. Kill! The evil god, Tribe's Tharch, shouted coldly. A beam of destructive light shot out from his forehead, enveloping Lu Ming and Dandan within it. It's over. I'm finished. Dandan screamed miserably. Rise! Lu Ming roared. With a wave of his hand, the divine nine-dragon cauldron rushed out from the ground, blocking in front of him. Clang! The evil god tribe's Thearka's destructive light struck the divine nine-dragon cauldron, causing it to vibrate violently. The beam of destructive light was blocked. Suppress! Following which, Lu Ming pushed out with a single hand. The divine nine-dragon cauldron enlarged once more and smashed towards the evil god, Tribe's Tharch. Ant-like thing dares to attack me? The evil god, Tribe's Tharch, roared coldly. Another beam of light shot out from his forehead, blasting towards the divine nine-dragon cauldron. But this time around, a dragon roar rang out from the divine nine-dragon cauldron. Its might was even stronger. With a tremor, It shattered the destructive light of the evil god Tribestarch and continued to smash towards the evil god Tribestarch. The evil god, Tribes Thearcha's, eyes narrowed. A battle axe appeared in his hand, and he chopped down at the divine nine-dragon cauldron. Clang! A deafening explosion rang out, reverberating through the skies. The divine nine-dragon cauldron was blocked. However, the evil god Tribes Thearcha's body trembled violently. He couldn't help but retreat continuously, his face pale. What a strong might! Again! Lu Ming was overjoyed. With his current cultivation base, controlling the divine nine-dragon cauldron had indeed increased the might of the cauldron. However, perhaps this had something to do with the divine nine-dragon cauldron awakening earlier, causing its might to be even more shocking. Boom! The divine nine-dragon cauldron continued to smash towards the evil god Tribestarch. At the same time, the auras of the other divine nine-dragon cauldrons were also getting stronger. Buzz. Chapter 22:17. The two divine nine-dragon cauldrons resonated with each other, and their power multiplied. Boom! The first cauldron pressed down. The evil god, tribe, great emperor's body shook violently, and he coughed out large mouthfuls of blood. The arm that held the battle axe cracked, and even the bones were broken. Boom! The second cauldron pressed down. The evil god, tribe, great emperor let out a miserable cry, and his body was torn into pieces. He had fallen. A great emperor, even though he should be a low-level great emperor, was killed by the continuous attacks of the two divine nine-dragon cauldrons. The divine nine-dragon cauldrons had awakened, and their power was terrifying. Damn it, go and kill them! In the distance, an evil god tribe member noticed this scene and immediately roared in anger. Swish! 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 At least 5 or 6 evil god tribe members charged towards Lu Ming and the others. Among them, there were even high-level great emperors. Come on, fully awaken! Lu Ming let out a long roar. Roar! Lu Ming's body glowed, and 9 dragons coiled around him. The 9 divine nine-dragon cauldrons vibrated, and dragon roars could be heard. The 9 dragon veins that coiled around the divine nine-dragon cauldrons seemed to have come to life. They emitted light, and they looked lifelike. Wong! 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 Next, the 9 divine nine-dragon cauldrons flew up and floated around Lu Ming and Dandan. One of them floated above their heads. An ray of light shone down, enveloping the 2 of them. The other 8 floated around the 2 of them. At this moment, the evil god tribe members had also arrived. The 6 evil god tribe members were all great emperors, and there were even high-level great emperors. With so many great emperors joining forces, it was definitely terrifying. Kill! Lu Ming roared, and with a push of his hands, the 8 divine nine-dragon cauldrons flew out. They expanded continuously, filling the sky, and pressed down on the 6 evil god tribe members. Within the divine nine-dragon cauldrons, dragon roars could be heard. The 8 cauldrons were even bigger than the immemorial divine mountains, and they were filled with endless power. Bam! Bam! The divine nine-dragon cauldrons pressed down, and the low-level great emperor screamed in pain. His body exploded, and he died on the spot. As for the high-level great emperor, his body also cracked, and blood spurted out of his mouth. Wong! The 8 divine cauldrons trembled, and a terrifying energy burst out. The high-level evil god, tribe, great emperor's body exploded inch by inch, and he too died. The divine nine-dragon cauldrons contained. The divine nine-dragon cauldrons have awakened. Kill! Dandan was excited. Kill! He-Lin shouted evil god. He controlled the divine nine-dragon cauldrons was. Evil was evil, evil was the evil, was evil, evil, evil ancestor. Evil sword artist had activated his origin energy, and his combat strength had increased tremendously. However, he could only fight to a draw with the evil god tribe patriarch. Although the 3 great emperors from Two World City were peak great emperors, there were too many experts on the other side. At that moment, they were in a precarious situation. They were covered in blood and could die at any time. Right then, Lu Ming had arrived. Of the 9 cauldrons, 1 was used to protect him, while the other 8 were used to attack the evil god race. The 8 cauldrons covered the sky and covered the sun. A dragon vane appeared on each cauldron, emitting light as it roared toward the sky. The 8 cauldrons resonated with each other, and their power increased exponentially. Boom! Boom! The cauldrons pressed down, and the members of the evil god tribe exploded one by one. Those below the level of Great Emperor had no power to fight back. Even for Great Emperors, low-level Great Emperors below the level of 3-star Great Emperors, they couldn't fight back and were killed one after another. Even the high-level Great Emperors above 4 stars couldn't resist. They spurted out blood, and their bodies were on the verge of exploding. A single attack had killed many members of the evil god tribe. Dandan's eyes lit up as she exclaimed in delight. "Kill him!" The members of the evil god tribe roared. Some of the peak Great Emperors charged at Lu Ming and Dandan. Lu Ming controlled the divine 9 dragon cauldrons and attacked. Dong! 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 The divine 9 dragon cauldrons clashed with the peak Great Emperors. In an instant, they had exchanged dozens of blows. The peak Great Emperors were forced to retreat, spurting out blood. Cracks appeared on his body. The divine 9 dragon cauldrons seemed to have awakened. Even the peak Great Emperors couldn't resist. Kill! The 3 peak Great Emperors of the 2-world city seized the opportunity to kill one of the enemy's peak Great Emperors. At the same time, Lu Ming controlled the divine 9 dragon cauldrons and attacked. With Lu Ming's help, they had the upper hand. The experts of the evil god tribe were being hunted down. In just a few minutes, more than 200 members of the evil god tribe were killed. There were dozens of great emperors. This was a shocking result. If this happened in the primordial realm, it would scare people to death. Although this was the battlefield between the Taiching sky domain and the foreign races, and most of the experts of the 2 worlds were gathered here, there were many great emperors and heavenly emperors. However, it was rare for dozens of great emperors to die at once. The great emperors of the evil god tribe were scared. They retreated when they saw Lu Ming. Go and help Senior Evil Sword Guest. Lu Ming controlled the divine 9 dragon cauldrons and flew toward the battlefield of Evil Sword Guest and the evil god tribe ancestor. Suppress! Lu Ming shouted. He pushed with both hands, and the 8 divine 9 dragon cauldrons flew out and suppressed the evil god tribe ancestor. 2 ants, you are courting death. The evil god tribe ancestor roared. Lu Ming had killed so many experts of the evil god tribe just now. His killing intent was extremely strong. Rays of light burst out from his 3rd eye. It was the light of destruction. However, the light of destruction of the evil god tribe ancestor was not just a ray of light. It could transform into 3-eyed demonic beasts that were as big as mountains. They pounced on Lu Ming and collided with the divine 9 dragon cauldrons. Boom! Boom! Terrifying vibrations resounded through the sky. The void was disintegrating continuously as if it was returning to chaos. The 8 cauldrons were sent flying back. Lu Ming felt a terrifying force pressing on him, almost causing his body to explode. Lu Ming retreated quickly. His face was pale and his blood was boiling. What a terrifying force! Lu Ming finally understood that the evil god tribe ancestor was too strong. He could not be mentioned in the same breath as the great emperor. They were worlds apart. Although the patriarch of the evil god tribe was seriously injured and was in a fierce battle with the evil swordsman, the destructive light that was emitted from his 3rd eye was able to repel the 9 dragon cauldron and almost injure Lu Ming. Dandan, let's enter the cauldron, Lu Ming said to Dandan. Dandan nodded. Then, the 2 of them flew into the cauldron above their heads. In the cauldron, the protective power was stronger. External forces would be blocked by the cauldron. Then, Lu Ming controlled the divine 9 dragon cauldron and let it fly out to meet with the other 8 cauldrons. The combined power of the 9 cauldrons was even more terrifying. The divine 9-dragon cauldron spun and attacked the evil god tribe ancestor. Boom! This time it finally destroyed the demonic beasts formed by the light of destruction and attacked the evil god tribe ancestor's body. Clang!